Timmy T's Sandwich Shop presents OIA football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network. Brought to you by Hawai'i Pacific Health and Dial Electric Supply. Now, it's time for Moanalua versus Pearl City. Let's go to the field with play-by-play announcers Paul Brecht and Kyle Galdera.
Hello and welcome on into Pearl City, where it's homecoming for the Chargers as Moanalua, the number 12 team in the Scoring Live Power Rankings, comes in for a visit. Paul Brecht, Kyle Galdera here to bring you all the action from the OIA Division I matchup here tonight. And Kyle, excited for this one. Two different teams, two different programs in two different places, but still, as with every Friday night under the lights, anything can happen.
Yeah, great to be back with you here in Pearl City, Paul. And when you look at the standings, Moanalua comes into this one 5-1, 3-0 in OIA D1 play. On the other end of the spectrum, Pearl City 0-5, 0-3 in D1 play. However, like we said last time we had a game like this, you throw the records out the window because we had a team like Kaimuki basically give the other squad a run for their money regardless of the record. So what I'm getting at is that these games come down to the players on the field at that time. And we know that Pearl City is dealing with a lot of academic issues, a lot of injuries. But you know what? They could give Moanalua a run for their money tonight. It's just going to come down to effort. And for Moanalua, obviously as the top team in D1, it's up to them to dictate the pace and how this game goes if they want to maintain that undefeated record.
Yeah, it seems pretty simple. If you are Na Mene Hune here tonight, got to take care of business against the team you're supposed to take care of business. But if you are Pearl City, you're looking to play spoiler, and we'll see if the Chargers can do exactly that with kickoff coming up on the other side of the anthem and Hawaii Pono'i. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Hawaii High School Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Great things come in threes, like the game-winning field goal, a hat trick, and Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, now with 3 locations: Kailua, the Moanalua Shopping Center, and the Kapahulu Shopping Center. Visit TimmyT's.com to skip the line and order online today.
Dial Electric Supply is Hawaii's premier lighting distributor and supplier, serving commercial and retail customers alike. Located at 2240 Kalua Opalena Street, Dial Electric's expanded retail showroom features one of the largest selections of lighting fixtures, fans, and smart home lighting solutions. Schedule an appointment with one of their design experts to create a home lighting design that you will enjoy for many years to come. Visit dialelectricsupply.com or give them a call at 808-845-7811.
In school sports, it's easy to see the wins, the moments that make headlines.
Here's Dr. Jamie Fukui with a health tip from Hawai'i Pacific Health.
When it comes to breast cancer, early detection could save your life. That's why it's recommended all women get a mammogram every year, starting at age 40, or younger if there's a history of breast cancer in your family. Schedule your mammogram today at one of our medical centers or clinics. Women who get a mammogram in October will receive a special gift while supplies last.
Online scheduling is easy at hawaiipacifichealth.org/mammogram.
Great things come in threes, like the game-winning field goal, a hat trick. And Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, now with 3 locations: Kailua, the Moanalua Shopping Center, and the Kapahulu Shopping Center. Visit TimmyT's.com to skip the line and order online today.
They host Moanalua Na Menehune, the top team in OIA Division 1 football. Paul Brecht, Kyle Galdera here to bring you all the action of the varsity game, the JV game earlier tonight, won by Moanalua 27-8. That one, a fun one, back and forth through some rain. Hopefully we're able to stay a little more dry here tonight for the varsity part of the action. But nonetheless, football's fun in the rain, and if it is a rainy night, look for Moanalua to really focus on taking care of the football, especially when they try and get that running game going against Pearl City as the night goes on.
Yeah, that's a good segue, Paul, to one of our keys to the game for Moanalua, and that's basically to play a complete game. I talked to Coach Andrew Manley and some of his assistants before the game, and they've been obviously impressed with their team going 3-0 in conference play so far. However, what has been happening is the team kind of takes their foot off the gas midway through the second quarter, and then the other team tends to come back. So the goal tonight, play that complete game. Obviously, Moanalua knows on paper they have the advantage. However, like I said, in our open, if Pearl City comes and shows out tonight like they did against Nanakuli, going up 22-0 and then giving up 59 straight points, they could be in prime position to pull the upset. So for Moanalua, it's play a complete game from opening horn to the final buzzer.
It'll be important for Moanalua, who is trying to take that next step as a team as well. Sometimes you look at games as wins or losses, and tonight for Moanalua, obviously the goal is to win, and the goal is to put a quality performance out on the field, but there's also bigger fish to fry later down the line, perhaps, than these Pearl City Chargers that you have to be on your P's and Q's for, and that's a big reason why I'm sure that coaching staff is looking for Na Menehune to play a full 4 quarters here tonight. You also mentioned Pearl City, who they have had moments, had flashes, and you also mentioned some issues with school and injuries and whatnot over there for the Chargers that have led to some changes in personnel. For them, it really comes down to just giving the offense a chance, and part of that is the offense giving the offense a chance and taking care of the football.
Right, that's a great point, Paul. And when we checked in with Coach Robin Kami, not only tonight but throughout the season, I've actually refereed 2 of his games. He's an awesome guy, and his staff is really trying to change the culture here at Pearl City. They're going through a rebuild, and that's why it's kind of unfortunate that they were moved up to the D1, because you have to go through this juggernaut of a schedule. But props to them. They show up every game. They play hard. It's just a matter of, can they play a complete game too? Because like I said earlier, they had a couple of good first halves, and then it kind of unraveled. Even their season opener against Castle, they were poised to win that game. Castle got a few turnovers. You mentioned, Paul, limit the turnovers. That's going to be the biggest key for Pearl City, is play disciplined, limit the turnovers, and see if they can knock off the undefeated giant in Na Menehune.
It'll be a really fun game here tonight between these 2 teams. You're listening to the pregame show brought to you by Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, now with 3 locations: Kailua, the Moanalua Shopping Center, and the Kapahulu Shopping Center. Visit TimmyT's.com and order online today. Excited to see which side is able to eat up more of the clock here tonight as well. We're talking about the running game. We're talking about each of these sides and what they need to do to win. And a big part of that, as with any football game, is can you possess the football? Can you take the opponent out of their rhythm? And that's something that I'm going to be really looking out here for tonight for the Chargers, as Moanalua, a ton of options on offense. Can you start to take away one of those? Can you take away 2 of those? One of those options, Jace Barang, the wide receiver who's brought in 40 receptions for 570 yards so far through just 6 games this season for Moanalua. He's been a star all throughout his high school career, and he's looking to continue to build on that here tonight. If Pearl City wants an opportunity here on homecoming, they got to know where number 9 is at all times.
And that's a great point, Paul. And I wanted to take that a step further. Jace Barang, 570 yards through the air, but he's actually used almost as a pseudo running back. So basically they're going to toss him balls in the flat, and he's going to use his yak ability, the yards after catch, the running through traffic, following blockers, and his athletic ability to create those extra yards. And Moanalua, they only run, and I say only in quotations because a lot of teams would love to run for 90 yards a game. But when I say they only run for 90, it's because they use their short passing game as the run game. They keep the clock running. They get that possession going. They get the first down chains moving. And because of that, that's why Moanalua, between Jace Barang and Kaisen Kealoha, those two guys alone have 900 yards receiving. So they're going to get some short passes. They're going to go deep. Their quarterback, Isaac Harney, is legit. 16 touchdowns, only 6 picks, 1,412 yards. So Moanalua can do it all. But like I said earlier, can they put together a complete game and really show that while also trying to stay healthy, knowing that they play Lelehua next week?
It'll be important as well. A great point by you to bring up. Can guys stay healthy? And that's a question every week with football, but especially now that you're into the thick of the OIA D1, D2 open division schedule. This is the last time you want to lose a guy. So you want to be sure you're taking it a little bit careful as well on a night like tonight where it's been rainy, it's been wet, and sometimes all it takes is just one bad play. So you got to be careful here tonight as we are finally ready for the opening kickoff, brought to you by Dial Electric Supply, Hawaii's premier lighting distributor and supplier. It'll be Moanalua in their white jerseys and black bottoms with some blue trim down the side, kicking off first from right to left on your radio dials to Pearl City, the home team here tonight on Homecoming in their purple jerseys and black pants, getting ready to go here from Pearl City as the Chargers looking for their first win of the year, and Moanalua looking to stay unbeaten in OIA Division I play.
Yeah, I wanted to point out, too, a lot of the players are wearing kind of pink accented accessories, whether it's shoelaces, towels, bandanas, even though those technically aren't legal and they shouldn't be sticking out, but some of them are wearing them in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so props to them for getting that out there and kind of following the trend that the NFL created, almost 2 decades ago now.
Excellent job by you to point that out. And obviously to anyone who has suffered from it or experienced somebody living with it, we send our aloha to you and hope as well. You know that we are thinking about you as the opening kickoff will be delayed just a little bit longer now.
This basically a player got sent out because he was not properly equipped and ready to play, and that's the way they handle it in high schools. They send him out for one play, fix it up, and get back in. And
that's the right way to go about it in high school. Just a quick correction.
Or you can just get it right from the get-go, and you don't have to do that.
This is also true. Either way, we're ready to go as the opening kickoff is up and away and goes through the back of the end zone for a touchback. Pearl City will start out at their own 20-yard line here tonight on Homecoming.
And before we get to Pearl City, I just got to give a shout-out to Andy Wen, the kicker for Moanalua. He put that ball halfway into the end zone. He's a guy we're going to look for. 9 field goals, 16 extra points, including a game-winning walk-off field goal against Kailua to avenge one of his misses last year that cost Moanalua the game. So great job by him getting that kickoff for a touchback.
Yeah, it's rare you see the specialist, the kicker punter, but you see the talent that is there. And it'll be number 7, Ikaika Torres, in the backfield at quarterback for Pearl City to start things out here tonight. And before the first snap can even be taken, we have movement and flags on the play.
Yeah, it's going to be a snap infraction. The center basically put the ball between his legs but didn't let it go. So all the other O-linemen jumped out, but the ball was still there. So that's going to be, they're going to call an encroachment. So maybe the center did that because the nose guard ran into him. I think that's what happened. Number 44 for Moanalua called there, Naomas Ferretti.
Either way, it'll be 1st and 5 now for Pearl City on their first possession. Handoff on the ground goes to number 2, Lennon Elder. His first rush of the night goes for no gain as he's met at the line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd down and 5 now for the Chargers.
Yeah, Elder coming into this game, 6.2 yards a carry. And right there, he tried to go up the middle. He might want to bounce it out next time because there's a lot of prime grade beef up the middle from Moanalua.
Torres drops back, fires over to the right side, and is intercepted picked off just like that. And Kyle, we talked about it in the pregame. You got to take care of the football, and there they do not, as Moanalua comes up with the interception.
Yeah, that was Sean Keaunui making the pick there. And basically the quarterback, Torres, telegraphed that pass the whole way, looking to his right side, looking at his wide receiver, and it was relatively easy for Moanalua to get the pick. Not only do they get the interception, but now they take over deep in Pearl City territory.
This is the exact scenario we discussed in the pregame show where you wanted to avoid it if you are Pearl City. Now the defense in a tough spot. Man in motion, handoff goes to number 34. That's Judalena, who is taken down after a pickup of about 2 yards. It'll make it 2nd down and 8 now for Na Menehune.
And Judalena is the guy that's been leading the backfield for Moanalua in their traditional run game, coming into this contest with 4.4 yards a carry, 318 yards and 3 touchdowns. And I wouldn't be surprised, Paul, if you're going to be calling his name a lot tonight.
Judalena, the senior, in the backfield once again. This time they'll go to the air, fires out to the left side. Harney finds number 3, that's Ryder Chang, for a pickup of about 3 more yards.
Yeah, Chang, one of the team captains, did a nice job of hanging onto that ball. Looked like the quarterback, Harney, put a little too much mustard on it, like a pitcher throwing a fastball there. And on that type of play, on the out route, you want to let your receiver get into space, be able to catch it and turn.
Harney takes the snap, fires towards the middle, complete, and looks like it'll be short just before the 1st down marker.
And that is Jace Brang making his first catch of the game. And like I said in the pregame, that is exactly what Moanalua wants to do. A 3-yard pass over the middle, almost treating it like a run. Now they get into 4th and manageable, 4th and 1.
It clearly looked like Moanalua knew it had 2 plays to pick up a 1st down here, going for it on 4th and 1. Handoff up the middle to Judalena, and he'll pick up the 1st down with plenty of yardage, and then some. Sets up 1st down and 10 at the 13-yard line of Pearl City.
Yeah, really good job by Na Menehune on their offense. Like I've said a couple of times, they use the short passing game as a running attack. So 2 runs, 2 traditional runs, 2 short passes. Right there, you get the 1st down. Chains are moving.
Kalina Judalena doing his job early on. Came into this one with 318 rushing yards on the year. As they'll go to the air once again, Harney complete across the middle, a slant, and into the end zone for a touchdown. La'akea Tapawan takes it in for the touchdown, and after the play, we have a flag that flies in.
And good eye by you there, Paul. The referees, some of them are using pink flags in honor of breast cancer awareness, and it's a little harder to see than the traditional yellow.
Yeah, you got to keep your eyes out, and luckily for me, during that JV game, they got me ready. Plenty of laundry on the field during that one, and still waiting on the call here.
Yeah, I believe it's going to be a post-touchdown foul, and Pearl City is going to probably elect to take it on the kickoff. So let's wait for referee Robert Victor to make the announcement.
And the touchdown does count, but after the play, unsportsmanlike conduct on Moanalua, and that'll be enforced on the kickoff.
That's exactly what they're going to do. It's smart play by Pearl City, trying to get some field position after giving up the score.
And so 6-0 pending a PAT. Andy Gwynn waiting to knock it on in as Na Menehune on the board here first. Snap, hold, kick, up and through, and it's 7-0 just like that in favor of the visiting Moanalua Na Menehune. 9:36 remaining here in the first quarter. We'll step aside as Moanalua leads 7-0. You're listening to OIA Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Great things come in threes, like the game-winning field goal, a hat trick, and Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, now with 3 locations: Kailua, the Moanalua Shopping Center, and the Kapahulu Shopping Center. Visit TimmyT's.com to skip the line and order online today.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the HHSAA and the Hawaii Interscholastic Athletic Directors Association.
Hawaii Pacific Health proudly presents Hawaii Pacific University Athletics on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network. Listen live to HPU Sharks women's volleyball and more on 95.1 FM AM 760 or at hawaiisportsradio.com.
OIA Athletics on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Back here in Pearl City, Moana on the board first after Isaac Harney connects with La'akea Tapoan for the touchdown as the kickoff is taken on out past the 30-yard line for Pearl City, and they'll begin just inside their own 35 here on their second possession of the night as the rain starts once again.
Yeah, really good job on kick return coverage there by Na'amenehune as Elder did an attempt to get across the field. Moanalua stayed in their lanes and made the tackle and basically erased a lot of that unsportsmanlike penalty that added 15 yards to the kickoff distance.
So, following an interception the first time, Pearl City will get set for their second possession of the day, and before they can get started, once again, there will be a flag, and once again, it'll be encroachment on Moanalua.
And our referee tonight, Robert Victor, I got to give him a shout-out. He was our timer last night in our epic double overtime clash between Waialua and Kalaheo, and he did an awesome job helping us with the overtime rules reminder when we got into that situation.
Always important, everyone doing their job. Handoff goes to the ground right here as Elder brought to the ground immediately. It'll be 2nd down and 5 as Moanalua all over the rushing attack early on here for Pearl City.
Yeah, and for Elder, he would have been better served going to the right there as Fasia Tavale, the O-lineman, the 250-pounder, had cleared a path to the right, but Elder darted left. So maybe those holes will continue to open, giving Pearl City a chance to run the ball a bit more in this game.
So 2nd down and 5. Ikaika Torres waits for the snap. Snap high, loses it at first, recovers, now will throw it way down the field, and incomplete, but a flag comes in. Going to be defensive pass interference against Moanalua as the defender, Nakoa Orlando, climbed the back of a Pearl City receiver.
Yeah, and as we wait for this official call, Torres got pounded there legally by Keonui for Moanalua, and his teammate Christian Delphin took a big hit legally on the quarterback. So we'll see if those hits, those cumulative hits, continue to add up during this ball game.
And that is something to keep an eye on as Ikaika Torres, just a 5'7", 150-pound quarterback for Pearl City. The junior has had himself an up-and-down year to begin, but clearly has talent, but nobody likes to take those kind of hits as pass interference is in fact the call. Nakoa Orlando whistled for it against Keaton Thomas. And so that'll move the Chargers into Na'amenehune territory. Inside the 45-yard line, high snap. Has to track it down. Ikaika Torres does, but is surrounded by Na'amenehune defenders and taken down way back inside his own 35-yard line. A massive error for Pearl City there after a big-time penalty put him in action.
Yeah, that's going to go down as a sack for Caleb De La Pena Pihana, the running back who actually plays linebacker as well. And he did a great job knowing that Torres had his back turned. All he did was go for the legs of the quarterback, picked up the sack, and now it is about 2nd and, we'll call it IAEA away for Pearl City.
2nd and forever here as Pearl City set up back at their own 32-yard line now. The line to gain all the way at the Moanalua 35. Torres drops back, looking left down the sideline, airs it on out, and it's too long, incomplete. He was looking for Javian Mizuno and just let him a little bit too long there, and that'll bring up 3rd down now. And once again, forever to go for Pearl City.
That was a really good job in coverage by cornerback Aaron McAddery. Basically used his body to drive the receiver out of bounds, technically could have been called pass interference, but that's a very veteran, a very savvy move by the DB to use that sideline as almost a help defender when you're in one-on-one press coverage.
So it'll be 3rd down and 34 yards to the first down marker. They'll just hand it on off to Elder, who gets a nice gain up the middle, is working his way a little bit further towards midfield. He'll get stopped at around the 42-yard line, and that'll bring up 4th down for Pearl City, and on comes the special teams unit.
Yeah, and you alluded to it, Paul, with the rain continuing to fall here at Pearl City, ball security is going to be an issue. We've already seen 2 very bad snaps by Pearl City, whereas Moanalua, they've been hanging on to the ball and potentially could get a big punt return here. So we'll see if Pearl City can shore up those mistakes.
And this is where Moanalua is also pretty good in the special teams. Jace Barang waits back there as well with another one of his teammates. And a beautiful punt is going to roll on down inside the 15-yard line, just ahead of Moanalua's 10. Na Menehune will begin from their own 12-yard line, leading 7-0 with 6:59 remaining here in the first quarter. And Kyle, so far, some good things for Pearl City, but the interception immediately takes it away. The pass interference, you do a nice job to work hard, get that penalty, and immediately after, a high snap sends you all the way back into your own territory. It's exactly what we discussed during the pregame show. You cannot have those inflicted errors if you are Pearl City.
Right, and we talked about it. If you're Pearl City, you have to play a near perfect to perfect game if you're going to try to compete with a team like Moanalua. So far, not the case, but they are still within just a touchdown.
Handoff up the middle goes to Judalena, who's taken down after a gain of about 4. Make it 2nd down and 6 now for Na Menehune.
Yeah, Judalena doing a good job there. Even though he only picked up 3 or 4 yards, he was patient. He let the O-line do their job, just followed the blockers, and Moanalua looking for that methodical attack. Pick up 4 yards of play, move the chains, add to the scoreboard.
And here, once again, on the ground, moving forward for a first down. Big pickup for Moanalua once again. It's Kalino Judalena, as Moanalua has both the passing attack and rushing attack working here early at Pearl City.
Yeah, definitely. And now I would look for Moanalua to open up the play-action game. They have Pearl City kind of sucking into that box. Right now it looks like an 8-man in the box coverage for Pearl City, and now they're going to play quarters defense. So a lot of pukas out there for the Moanalua receivers to work with. 3
wide receivers split out to the right. Harney delivers on over to Barang. Barang shakes around a couple of defenders, reverses course, coming on over to the left side of the field now, and he'll work his way out of bounds. And a late flag comes in from the back judge.
Yeah, I think they might have gotten Moanalua for a block in the back. It was one of those where the player pushed the Pearl City opponent and then kind of threw his hands up like it wasn't me. But, of course, that actually makes it easier for the referee to see.
The universal sign.
Right.
For a block in the back.
And I believe that's going to be the call because Jace Barang there basically ran about 40 yards to the right, came back 40 yards to the left, picked up a net of about 3, but now they're going to go backwards because of that block.
Yeah, a lot of running for not too much of a gain, and now no gain at all, as block in the back is the call against Moanalua. It'll put Na Menehune back, as it'll remain first down, but not what you wanted, as we were just saying, for Pearl City, those self-inflicted errors. If you are Moanalua, one of the goals is to play a complete game. To do that, you can't have silly penalties like that one right there. It'll make it first down and 15. Handoff up the middle goes to Judalena. Judalena will pick up about 5 and bring them back to the original line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 10 now for Moanalua.
Good job by Jamie Castro, the D-end for Pearl City, getting the tackle there, limiting what could have been a bigger run down to about 3 yards. Still 2nd and long coming up for Moanalua, but like we've said, Jace Barang and company, they can turn a distant situation into instant offense.
Harney drops back, Fires over the middle,
Just
complete
like
to
that.
Chang. Chang, pardon me, that's La'akea Tapauan, who caught that one, picks up the first down, working across the middle. My apologies, on the other side of the field.
Beautiful job there by Tapauan, getting open in space, making a turn. He turned a 7-yard catch into about a 15-yard gain, moving the chains yet again to the 50 for Na'Menehune.
A nice job by Tapauan to come back to the ball first, helps your quarterback out, and then since he had space, able to work with that yards after catch. First down and 10 now from the 46. Handoff goes to Ryder Chang, and Chang going to be bottled up in the backfield. A nice play by a few Pearl City defenders as the Chargers not fooled by the wide receiver run.
And even though it was stopped for a loss, that was a smart play by Moanalua. It was actually a shovel pass. So Chang had the jet sweep motion, but it was a forward toss. And in that case, if he dropped the ball, it's an incomplete pass. You don't have to worry about a fumble. So a nice play designed by Moanalua, just not executed the way they wanted it.
Instead, it goes as a loss of 4, second down and 14 now, as Harney takes the snap. Looks left, fires left, finds Ryder Chang. Chang working his way down the left sideline, tries to juke a defender before being taken down just before the 40-yard line of Pearl City. And it'll be a new set of downs once again. Oh, pardon me. It will not. Once again.
You got fooled
just
by
a little bit
the
short.
double stakes there, as
did.
many referees even do. We actually remind ourselves, hey, it's double stakes. It's more than 10 yards. Third and short coming up here. A nice play by Chang to get a lot of those penalty yardage back.
As you brought up, a good job by Chang. A 12-yard gain makes it third down and 2, but a pre-snap penalty.
And again,
Once
this is
again.
encroachment on Pearl City. What was a third and short could have been a get him off the field situation. Now yields another first down for Moanalua via a disciplinary penalty, I would say.
And for the first couple of encroachment or offsides penalties that we saw, it was Moanalua handing 5 extra yards to begin drives for Pearl City, and now Pearl City just continuing to track backwards here in this opening quarter as we tick under 3 minutes to play here in the first. 7-0 is your score in favor of Moanalua over Pearl City. Isaac Harney takes the snap, looks right, now steps up in the pocket, goes over to the left side and will scramble out of bounds. Flag comes in as in the area where you might see a holding penalty.
Yeah, it's a really good call there by the umpire, Chris Troutman. Iosefa Miller for Pearl City made an attempt at the quarterback. The O-line basically ripped him to the ground, 2 guys, and because of that, it was a relatively easy hold to see. And again, Moanalua 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. We'll see if they can kind of remedy that. They haven't been playing clean, even though they do have this 7-0 lead.
Yeah, that's a good point by you, a team in Na'Menehune who came in talking about wanting to play a full 4 quarters here tonight, and they had an excellent start, an interception to begin, a touchdown on their very first drive, and that's not to say that this drive has been bad by any means, but still not quite the level of what the top team in OIA Division I would like to be at this point.
Right, and Pearl City is basically playing a soft zone, almost a dime type of defense where 4 DBs are way back, and there's a bunch of cushion for all these. Look at, it's a 4-receiver set, trips to the right side. Everybody has at least 5 yards to work with. Just move the ball down the field if you're in Moanalua. Take 5 yards at a time, and just keep moving the ball, turning the clock.
Play action. Harney looks down the field, has a receiver, tosses it on up, and a beautiful play by the Pearl City defensive back. That's number 14, Jace Lorenzo, who got a hand on that one to break it on up. And if he didn't, looked like a massive gain on the way for Moanalua, as Harney had a receiver, looked like it was Kaisen Kealoha, who had a step and a nice last-second breakup to make it second down.
Yeah, that was a combination of Lorenzo making a great play and the quarterback Harney being pressured. And because that ball was a bit too high, it resulted in an ideal play for Pearl City. Now second and very long coming up.
Second down and 20, 2:15 remaining here in the opening quarter. Pass caught across the field by Jace Barang. Barang with a blocker ahead of him, weaving his way through defenders, still on his feet inside the 5 before finally being taken down. Jace Barang doing a nice job weaving his way through the Chargers defense. And now first down and goal for Na Menehune, already leading 7-0.
And we talked about that in the pregame. Barang took what was a 7 or 8 yard pass and turned it into almost 40. And what I really liked there was he had the chance to run out of bounds at the 15. Instead, he turned it in and got an extra 10 yards just by doing that. That's what you want to see as a coach, a player who's willing to sell out to help his team.
Also liked the play design there. Looked like it was a running back or a screen to the running back. Instead goes to a Barang who cuts across the middle against the grain of the entire defense. A great job by them. There, the handoff to Judalena is stopped behind the line of scrimmage for a 1 yard loss. Second down and goal now from the 6 for Moanalua coming on up.
And you make a great point there, going back to that play, Paul, for Barang. It was a screen pass, but a non-traditional one where you have everybody going to the right. Barang was the only guy coming back to the left. He went through that wash, caught the pass, and got a big gain.
Harney fakes the handoff. Now will fire it off to the right side. Finds number 14, Dwayne Miller, who's going to reach. And before the ball pops out on the ground, will be in for a score. Second touchdown pass of the night for Isaac Harney. First touchdown catch of the night for Dwayne Miller. And it's a 13-0 lead pending a PAT for Moanalua.
And that's a really good job by the down judge, Dan Coda, over there on the opposite goal line, making that call. We call that double action, where the player goes down. You first look at his knees off the ground, then you look at the reach. Ball was over the goal line. Immediate touchdown call because he's in possession. Of course, it smacked the ground and bounced away. That's irrelevant. Touchdown was called. Very good read on that play by the refereeing crew.
And really nice effort by Dwayne Miller, who had a Pearl City defender wrapped around his waist and brought him into the end zone as the kick by Andy Gwynn is up and good. 14-0. The Moanalua lead with 1:03 remaining here in the first quarter. We'll step away for a moment. You're listening to OIA Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Here's Dr. Jamie Fukui with a health tip from Hawaii Pacific Health.
When it comes to breast cancer, early detection could save your life. That's why it's recommended all women get a mammogram every year, starting at age 40, or younger if there's a history of breast cancer in your family. Schedule your mammogram today at one of our medical centers or clinics. Women who get a mammogram in October will receive a special gift while supplies last.
Online scheduling is easy at hawaiipacifichealth.org/mammogram.
School sports are played by humans, coached by humans, and officiated by humans. So the next time you're sitting in the stands at a school athletic event, please remember this and maintain your humanity, especially when it comes to judging and critiquing athletes, coaches, and officials. Please show your fellow humans some respect. They'll appreciate your empathy.
This message presented by the HHSAA and the Hawaii Interscholastic Athletic Directors Association.
Your brand new home for OIA Athletics. KGU AM. K236CR. Honolulu is the Hawaii Sports Radio Network on 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Pearl City, where Moanalua leads the Chargers 14-0 here on homecoming night for Pearl City. Paul Brecht, Kyle Galdera bringing you all the action here tonight between a pair of OIA Division I programs. And so far, Kyle, it's been really about who can recover from their self-inflicted injuries or self-inflicted errors. And so far tonight, it has been all Moanalua through one quarter.
Right, basically one turnover and then essentially a turnover by two bad snaps for Pearl City have led to 14 straight points by Na Menehune. Now, can Pearl City fight back? This is that opportunity where they're still in the game, but you don't want to let Moanalua run away with it here early in the first half.
Yeah, this is the danger zone here as more flags will fly before the snap. This one, I think, will go on Pearl City. It will, a false start against the Chargers. Backs him on up 5 yards, makes it first down and 15, just as we're talking about self-inflicted errors.
And I believe that was the slot receiver, Christian Kiheva, who got a little too antsy there and very easy to see when he's dancing around.
As Ikaika Torres takes the snap, will hand it on off. Elder up the middle, bounces his way up to the 20-yard line, back to the original line of scrimmage, and it'll be second down and 10 as we have an injured player down on the field, an offensive lineman for Pearl City, as the Chargers athletic training staff comes out onto the field. We'll have a timeout. Not sure who the player is at this moment. Try and get that to you here, as Moanalua leading Pearl City 14-0 here with 51 seconds remaining in the first quarter. Beautiful evening for some football, albeit a little bit damp, but weather nice and cool. Fans here in big numbers for homecoming for Pearl City, as a hush over the crowd for now, looking over, awaiting to see what's going on with the offensive lineman for Pearl City.
Yeah, I believe that is number 77, Facia Aitiavale, 250-pounder, who might have gotten rolled into. He seemed like he kind of fell like a big tree there, and this isn't good. One of his teammates is kind of on a knee there, and right now there's about 6 trainers surrounding him, so hopefully he's going to be okay after this. That's the last thing you want to see, is a guy fighting for an 0-5 team, trying to keep his squad in the game, and then you have a unfortunate injury like that. Again, we're far away and we can't see exactly what's happening, but normally when you have this type of attention, it's usually on the serious side.
It is certainly unfortunate for the young man, as you mentioned, Aitavale, who stands at 6 foot tall, 250 pounds. It's never easy to go down on that, even if there's no extra weight going down on top of you, as he's still on the ground. And that sports injury report brought to you by Hawaii Pacific Health, creating a healthier Hawaii. Still on the ground, surrounded by trainers, as a couple more teammates will come on out to check on the senior offensive lineman.
Yeah, and when the O-lineman went down, initially I thought it was the running back, because Caleb De La Pena Pihana delivered a big hit, the Moanalua linebacker, to the Pro City running back. But then when you see the O-lineman fall, it could have been either a roll-up injury or maybe even, hopefully not, but a non-contact injury, which sometimes is even worse, because those are the ones that basically, kind of lead to almost a year-long absence in certain degrees.
Yeah, it's not what you want. In any way, you don't want to see an injury, especially for these young men who go out there and do compete hard. You mentioned it before. Unfortunately for Pearl City at this time, 0-5, but tonight, even down 14-0 here in the first quarter, fighting exceptionally hard. The defense doing their job. The offense having some flashes here and there, just a couple of penalties backing them up, a couple of negative plays backing them up. So you can see the flashes for this Pearl City team, but you mentioned it during the pregame show, Kyle, a program that's rebuilding right now. And in OIA Division I, which has continually gotten better over the years. You hear all about the open division and the incredible talent that is on display here in Hawaii, but it has continued to leak down into the OIA D1 and D2 divisions, and you see it here tonight with Moanalua up 14-0. Pearl City continuing to fight hard, but here concern over their senior teammate.
Yeah, and kind of taking that discussion a step further, Paul, you look at the Open, right, where a team like Farrington and even Waipahu, they're in the Open, and they're being absolutely shellacked every week. But yet, if you were to drop them down to D1, they would be in the air that Moanalua is in right now, and maybe even better than Moanalua, because they have a bunch of talent. And it just goes to show how difficult it is to move a team up or down a division based on last year's result. Because, of course, if you have a championship team and they lose 40 seniors, your team's going to suffer the next year. I don't care how many transfers you bring in or what have you. They're going to struggle, and that's what happened with Pearl City. They were in line for a championship last year, didn't quite get it, and here they are rebuilding while moving up a division. So it's definitely a tough spot, as Moanalua has shown that they've dropped down from the Open and are now thriving in D1, where you could say they belong. And, of course, if you had some senior talent, you can maybe argue that they could rise back up to Open. But again, it's hard to compete with the likes of Kohuku and this year, Mililani and Campbell, which are really the cream of the crop in the Open, in the OIA.
And tell you what, that's a game coming up this weekend as well. Campbell Mililani, that is going to be exceptionally exciting for fans to take in. That one sure to potentially shake up some power rankings, as Mililani, something about that home field makes quarterbacks' brains go fuzzy late in games. Will they be able to have that voodoo magic on Jaren Keave Songapula-Tele, the top quarterback in the state in the class of 2025? Paul Brecht, Kyle Galdera here in Pearl City, bringing you the action between the Chargers and Na Menehune, as currently right now down on the ground, one of the offensive linemen for Pearl City.
Yeah, and this is kind of getting spooky watching the reaction. You have the family coming out to check on their loved one. The good thing is the player is sitting up on his own, and I believe that is big number 77. So initially I was worried that it might have been a head or neck injury, but it seems like that isn't the issue. It might be like we said, a lower body injury, which obviously you don't want any injury, but that I would prefer that to a head and neck injury. So he's now standing up, and he's going to be helped off the field by his teammates, and we really wish him the best.
Yeah, helped off the field by his teammates there. As you said it before, big number 77, Fasia Aitavale, as he is gingerly making his way off the field.
Yeah, and it looks like he has one of those big bulky knee braces on his left leg to begin with. So maybe it was something that got aggravated or even extended the wrong way. And like we said, best wishes to him. And again, the hits keep on coming for Pearl City, and that adversity, builds character. But it comes to a point where, how much more can you take if you're the Chargers?
It was something we talked about during the pregame. Not only do they face off against the student part of student athletes, but also the athlete side of being student athletes, that injuries come with the game of football as well. Unfortunate for them. And as you said, sending all our best to the young man as he hopefully recovers very quickly.
And again, showing the disarray of Pearl City, I believe they made that play with only 4 O-linemen, because they didn't have a sub to bring in for big number 77, and yet Elder scampers for a 15-yard run right up the middle.
I was going to say it didn't matter. Elder has his best run of the night. As you mentioned, a 15-yard dash up the middle sets up first down and 10 at the Pearl City 35, and a little bit of positivity for the Chargers after a scary moment on the offensive line.
And they finally did get it figured out. They're back to their regular formation here.
Torres fires over to the left side, complete. Finds number 5, Christian Kihava, as Kihava picks up about 4 yards. And that'll bring us to the end of the first quarter, as Pearl City with the ball trying to crack into this Moanalua lead, but it's Na Menehune leading 14-0 after 1 quarter of play. You don't want to go too far. You're listening to OIA football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Great things come in threes, like the game-winning field goal, a hat trick, and Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, now with 3 locations: Kailua, the Moanalua Shopping Center, and the Kapahulu Shopping Center. Visit TimmyT's.com to skip the line and order online today.
Dial Electric Supply is Hawaii's premier lighting distributor and supplier, serving commercial and retail customers alike. Located at 2240 Kalua Opalena Street, Dial Electric's expanded retail showroom features one of the largest selections of lighting fixtures, fans, and smart home lighting solutions. Schedule an appointment with one of their design experts to create a home lighting design that you will enjoy for many years to come. Visit dialelectricsupply.com or give them a call at 808-845-7811.
Man, I loved playing high school sports growing up. And it's fun being a fan now, don't get me wrong, but sitting in the stands feels like I'm missing out on all the action, I wanted to get back in the game, so I signed up to be a high school official. It takes me back to my playing days. I'm supporting students, and I get paid to make the big calls. Do you want to see the game up close? Sign up to become an official in Hawaii at highschoolofficials.com.
Hawaii Pacific Health proudly presents Hawaii Pacific University Athletics on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network. Listen live to HBU Sharks women's volleyball and more on 95.1 FM AM 760 or at hawaiisportsradio.com.
Back here in Pearl City, it's 14-0 Moanalua leading Pearl City here on homecoming night for the Chargers. But The Chargers driving down the field a little bit. 3rd down and 2 following a 4-yard scamper by Lennon Elder. Makes it 3rd and manageable. Torres takes the snap. He'll drop back, way back, sets up a little bit of a screen, and Moanalua not fooled at all over Lennon Elder as Elder brought it back in behind the line of scrimmage. Was taken down for about a 3-yard loss. It'll make it 4th down and 5, and on comes the punting unit for Pearl City.
Yeah, that looked like Peyton Tisalona, who held his gap coverage there, held his responsibility, and made the stop on the screen. He didn't fall for it. When all those O-linemen let you come through, there's a reason. He stood his ground, made the tackle there for a loss, and it's going to be another Pearl City punt.
And that's more of the discipline that Moanalua is going to need to display as this season goes on. A good job there to shut down a little bit of momentum for Pearl City as another bad snap, and it's going to end up being a fake punt instead, and falls incomplete as the pass attempt ends up hitting a receiver in the hands for Pearl City, but drops to the ground incomplete. And that one, a little bit of a crazy play, as they really did plan on punting it at first, but one of those high snaps. Once again, we saw it happen a couple of times to Ikaika Torres, and now this time happens to the punter, Tiger Adder.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where now 3 bad snaps, 2 of them led to a punt for Pearl City, and now you have what would have been a nice flipping of the field turn into basically give him the ball at the 45 of Pearl City.
Turnover on downs sets up Na'Menehune inside Pearl City territory. Harney takes the snap, fakes the handoff, rolls out to the left, fires on over to the left, tries to find Barang, but just out of the reach of the senior wide receiver.
Yeah, and for the 3rd time tonight, it looked like Harney put in a little too much mustard on that ball, and Barang almost made a beautiful one-handed catch. It was just a little too hot to handle, and that one would have been a touchdown if Barang had hauled it in. So another opportunity for Harney to maybe dial it down a bit on the oomph on that pass and really give something for the receivers to handle.
And you don't hate him trying to fit a throw through a tight window, but there also needs to be level of touch to it, as well as you especially have a special wide receiver as the handoff goes up the middle, and a big gain here by Moanalua as Judalena rumbles on forward for a gain of about 8.
Yeah,
good job there.
Judalena, Paul, using the counter attack there. The O-line pushed left. He waited for a hole and actually darted right. That gets the defense flowing one way. They got to stop and work their way back. And that's how you turn a 3-yard gain into an 8-yard gain and make it 3rd and 2 for Na'Menehune.
3rd down and manageable now for Moanalua. Under 10 minutes to play here in the first half. 14-0 lead for Na'Menehune. Harney steps back now. Will step up in the pocket and take off before scampering out to the left for a short gain, it appears. And we'll see if it was enough for the first down. Looks like it was as the chains move on forward. Good job there by the quarterback for Moanalua, knowing exactly where he needed to go to pick up a new set of downs.
Yeah, and Harney there ran about 30 yards. He ran 6 yards straight ahead and then 24 to the right, knowing that he wanted to preserve himself, and he got out of bounds. A good job there by the quarterback.
As a new set of downs, 1st down, looks over to his right side. Pass complete to Kaisen Kealoha as he'll pick up a couple of yards, makes it about 2nd down and 7 now for Moanalua. And so far tonight, Kyle, as much as we have been saying Jace Barang's name, it is also impressive to see Moanalua continuing to spread the ball around here tonight.
Right, and like I said, Pearl City playing a shell defense, knowing that they're trying to keep an eye on Barang. But because of that, the other guys like Kealoha and Tapuan are thriving with all that open space.
Handoff. Off the left side goes Judalena, and he'll be taken down right around the line of scrimmage. Make it 3rd down and 7. And that'll bring up an important down here for the Pearl City defense. Already down 2 scores are the Chargers. An opportunity here just on the edge of field goal range for Moanalua if you can get off the field on 3rd down. if you are Pearl City.
I would take it a step further and say Moanalua is going for a 2-down opportunity here. I don't think they're going to kick a field goal.
Harney looking for the end zone and overthrew his receiver. Was looking for Ryder Chang, and Chang had a step on the Pearl City defender, and instead just a little bit too much on it by Isaac Harney once again.
And I say that knowing that Nguyen can make the kick, but also knowing that Moanalua has so many mismatches out there on the field, and I believe they are going to go for it here on 4th and long. But what they wanted to do there was get 3 or 4 yards and make another 4th and manageable on the situation.
Instead, it'll be 4th down and 7. Harney takes the snap, rolls out left, looking to the end zone once again, tosses it up, and tosses it too far out of bounds. Incomplete it goes, and a turnover on downs for Moanalua. Good job by Pearl City right there, coming up with their first stop of the evening.
Yeah, and while we definitely got to give credit to Pearl City's defense, you almost have to look at yourself if you're Moanalua and say, why are you going on deep passes into the corner every time? Just keep doing your dink and dunk offense, 3-4 yards at a time. Let your receivers run and pick up yardage that way. But again, props to Pearl City. They're hanging in there, down 14 here. About 4 minutes gone in the second quarter.
7:57 remaining here in the first half. 14-0 the Moanalua lead, but a turnover on downs for Na Menehune. We'll give the ball on over to Pearl City at their own 23. Torres takes the snap, steps up in the pocket, now looking downfield, has a receiver open and is complete. That's number 5, Christian Quejava. And Christian Quejava hauls in the deep pass from Torres, picks up a first down into Moanalua territory there, and a nice job by Torres on the run to really huck it down the field, and in stride found a receiver in Quejava.
Yeah, and a couple of great plays there. Not only was the quarterback Torres extending the play, but Quejava kept his route. He beat the defender, and then he stayed away from the sideline, so he had room to work with, and mainly held onto the ball when he fell out of bounds.
Christian Quejava having himself a decent evening getting open for Pearl City thus far. Chargers trying to get him the ball a little bit more. About a 6-yard gain on first down that time for the Chargers. Brings up 2nd down and 4. Torres takes the snap, hands it on off. Up the middle goes Elder, who is met by a crew of Moanalua defenders. And no gain on the play for Pearl City. It'll be 3rd down and about 5 yards to go.
Really good job there by Torres, handling yet another high snap as the rain begins to intensify here in Pearl City. And I just wonder if that's going to continue to be the bugaboo that kind of derails Pearl City. So far they're okay on this drive, but it didn't work out for them their last offensive possession.
We've seen snapping issues when the rain starts. No issues here. Torres takes it, scrambles around in the backfield, eludes defenders, still working his way over to the left side. Little karaoke now before he stops will fall down to the ground at the 30-yard line. And gingerly getting up is Ikaika Torres after twisting and turning his way for a first down for Pearl City.
Yeah, and that's tough to see for Torres. He eluded about 6 defenders, and then the turf monster got him, and it seemed like he tweaked his maybe a high ankle type of injury, and now he's kind of limping around favoring that right leg. So hopefully he's okay. He missed a couple of games due to injury earlier this year, coming back, and he's their top option. That is Pearl City. So he's going to need to be in the game if Pearl City is going to pull off this upset.
Now you've seen what Torres can do with both his arm and feet on this drive alone, as Pearl City going to be forced to take a timeout after Torres banged up a little bit and a miscommunication on the play. We'll step aside as well as Moanalua still leads 14-0 over Pearl City here on homecoming night for the Chargers. 6:23 remaining here in the second quarter. Don't go too far. You're listening to OIA football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Great things come in threes, like the game-winning field goal, a hat trick, and Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, now with 3 locations: Kailua, the Moanalua Shopping Center, and the Kapahulu Shopping Center. Visit TimmyT's.com to skip the line and order online today.
Hey, Joe, I thought you were retired.
Living on a fixed income is tough. So
here I am, an essential worker.
I know. I mean, food prices are going up every day. Thank goodness for benefitscheckup.org.
Benefits what?
benefitscheckup.org. It's a free website where people over 60 can find help to pay for food, medicine, even utilities. I got $1,200 a year in benefits. Maybe it can help you.
Out here in the middle of these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on earth. That's how it feels when you're struggling with your mental health. But you don't have to feel alone. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
OIA Athletics on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. Brought to you by Dial Electric Supply.
Back here at Pearl City, and on 1st and 10, back to the air go the Chargers as Ikaika Torres remains in the game, delivers a pass over to the left side to Tavon Ching Harrell, complete, and after the play there was a flag as well, as Torres once again taking a big hit from this Moanalua defense.
Yeah, it's going to be roughing the passer. Pretty clear to see Caleb De La Pena Pihana absolutely demolished Torres there well after he let go of that pass. Good job by the referee, Robert Victor, making that call. In that area, the sole responsibility of the referee is the quarterback. So good job spotting that. Torres still with a noticeable limp, but he's hanging in there. Credit to this young man. He's tough.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Kyle. I was going to say you have to be impressed by the toughness of Ikaika Torres, who now on back-to-back plays could have very easily gone out of the game and instead stays in. 1st down and 10 now, trying to get away from a couple of Moanalua defenders, and he can't. Just plowed down by a few, and a little extracurriculars now from a couple of Na-Menehune defenders.
Yeah, Christian Delphin with the sack there, and I think Moanalua getting a little frustrated that Pearl City's hanging around, and they're now taking it out on Torres, and you see Torres popping up. He's upset because he's getting clobbered on every play, and he's basically going to tell his guys, hey, give me a little room, give me some blocks, guys, let me work.
Also, I will say Moanalua a little bit lucky there with the extracurriculars, a little bit of a late hit as well after Torres had gone down, no call. Instead, it will be 2nd down and 12. As Torres takes it, looking to the end zone, will fire to the end zone, caught for a touchdown. Keaton Thomas hauls on in the 12-yard score, or pardon me, the 16-yard score. A nice readjustment there by the senior wide receiver, and the Chargers just like that on the board, Kyle.
Yeah, good job there by Tomas of working his way back. It seemed like the pass was underthrown. Luckily for the receiver, he saw it. The DB didn't, and it could have been pass interference there. No call, probably because the touchdown was made, but a really good job by Pearl City. We mentioned this was the drive they needed to convert on if they want to stay in this game, and so far so good. They're now within 8, trying to make it 7. Maybe even 6 if they go for 2 here. Why not?
And it appears that the Chargers will go for 2. 14-6 your score with 5:14 remaining here in the first half. Going for 2. Torres slings it across the middle, complete. That's Tavon Ching Harrell hauling on in the 2-point conversion. And it's a 6-point game, 14-8 now. Pearl City trails Moanalua here on homecoming night.
Yeah, and this so far has been a great game. We mentioned in the pregame that even though the records are showing that Moanalua should be running away with this one, Pearl City all season has been in games. They've just let the lead go right around this point. So good job by Pearl City scoring. Now keep the pedal to the metal. You don't want to let up and let Moanalua get some confidence back and let them start running away with this game.
And then going back to our conversation we just had for Pearl City, you almost feel that this is just as an important drive coming up for Moanalua, talking about the stated goals before the game, talking about trying to play a full 4 quarters in this one, trying to respond when adversity hits you because that's what good teams do. Well, all of a sudden, Pearl City here on homecoming night with a touchdown and 2-point conversion with 5:14 remaining here in the first half, and it's a 1-score game.
Yeah, great point by you, Paul. Coach Andrew Manley before the game was adamant about this exact thing. His team got ahead 14-0. Here we are in the second quarter. Now it's 14-8. as the scoreboard goes off. Hopefully they can fix that one as they're going to reset it. But basically, this is what happened to Moanalua all season long. They get the early lead, and then they kind of have to fight and claw to maintain it. So to your point, this is a big drive for Na'Menehune, because if they can make it a 2-score lead, maybe add on one more before halftime, they can really be in the driver's seat.
And the kickoff going to settle around the 7-yard line. Picked up now by Jace Barang and Moanalua. Moanalua trying to work through it, and the ball's loose. The ball is loose, and Barang looks like he was able to fall back on top of it. But the rain, Kyle, we've talked about ball security all evening, and we see it right there with Moanalua's best player trying to do something on the kickoff, make something out of nothing, and almost made it all for naught.
Yeah, if that ball had bounced just a few inches to the right, it would have been Pearl City's, but that's the interesting thing about playing with an oblong ball. You never know where it's going to bounce. And Pearl City, though, again, give them credit. They're playing with a lot of third stringers across the board. They're getting some people back healthy as the season goes on, but we'll see what they can do in this game against the number 1 undefeated Na'Menehune here in the D1.
And Na'Menehune looking to respond after giving up a touchdown. Handoff goes up the middle, cuts it on back to the right side. That's Judalena. And Judalena still on his feet, working, pushing forward, and finally the whistle blows as Judalena works his way all the way to, it looks like, the first down marker. Will they give him enough? They won't. It appears to be 1 yard short as forward progress was stopped, but makes it 2nd down and 1 now for Moanalua after the grown man run by Kalino Judalena.
Yeah, Judalena there. Good job switching the ball from his left hand to his right, knowing that he was going to the right sideline, preventing that fumble.
Play action fake. Harney looking down the right sideline. Has a receiver caught. Hauled in by Kaisen Kealoha. And Kealoha still down on the ground in a little bit of pain before now bouncing back up. But a massive gain right there on the play action pass by Moanalua, and that is part of the reason why you talk about Moanalua wanting to get the running game going so early, and now it looks as though Kealoha is going to have to step out of the game as he steps off to the sideline and immediately goes down.
And hopefully it's okay. From my initial view, it looks like Kealoha might have hurt his shoulder. He landed right on it. The trainer immediately reaching under the shoulder pads, so I'm thinking maybe kind of a clavicle type of injury or a shoulder. Hopefully he's okay. He's one of their top weapons.
And Harney takes the snap, moves over to his left, complete to a receiver. That's number 0, La'akea Tapoan, who will pick up another first down here, but concern for sure as Kaisen Kealoha, you mentioned it before, one of the top receivers on this Moanalua team, being tended to by plenty of training staff over here on the Na'Menehune sideline.
And Kealoha still on the ground on the sideline being tended to, like you said. It hopefully will get him back to the game. He is being tended to, walking to the bench now, but good news for Moanalua is they have other weapons as we have a touchdown.
And that is correct, as for the first time tonight, Na'Menehune get into the end zone on the ground as Kalino Judalena works his way to the left side, off the left side, and into pay dirt for the 3rd touchdown of the night for the visitors. Makes it 20-8 now, a lead as quickly Moanalua responds to the Pearl City touchdown.
And that's what you want to see if you're Moanalua, is an instant response. You don't want to let that momentum kind of fester with Pearl City and give them confidence. So Moanalua with the quick strike, 3 minutes, 17 seconds left to go in the half. Ideally, if Moanalua can get a 3 and out as the when extra point is up and good, get the ball back and score again, they'll have a little more breathing room going into halftime.
And we'll see who's able to respond next. The Pearl City defense, the Moanalua defense. Stick around to find out. You're listening to OIA Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Dial Electric Supply is Hawaii's premier lighting distributor and supplier, serving commercial and retail customers alike. Located at 2240 Kalua Opalena Street, Dial Electric's expanded retail showroom features one of the largest selections of lighting fixtures, fans, and smart home lighting solutions. Schedule an appointment with one of their design experts to create a home lighting design that you will enjoy for many years to come. Visit dialelectricsupply.com or give them a call at 808-845-7811.
Sunday on Compass Media Networks, coverage of the NFL. It's a primetime cross-conference showdown from Pittsburgh as the Steelers host the Dallas Cowboys. Hi, this is Jeff Biggs. Join Kevin Ray, Steve Berline, and me for all the action as Dak Prescott and the Cowboys go for back-to-back wins on the road. It's the Cowboys and the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. If it's the NFL, it's right here
on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
You're listening to OIA Athletics on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. Brought to you by Hawaii Pacific Health.
Back in Pearl City where the Chargers trail Na'amenehune 21-8. Kickoff following the touchdown run by Kalino Judolena. Made it 21-8 with 3:17 remaining here in the first half of play. Touchback goes through the back of the end zone. So Pearl City will begin from their own 20 and trying to build off of some positive momentum from their last drive, Kyle.
Yeah, so Moanalua got the touchdown they needed. Now they're going to try to get a 3-and-out and get the ball back. If you're Pearl City, I would say even if they don't score here, if they can at least run the clock out on this half and preserve the 13-point deficit, that would be a win for Pearl City going into the half.
At the very least, you don't want to give Moanalua an opportunity to lap you in terms of getting the final possession of the first half and then getting the opening kickoff of the second half, which would be the case after Pearl City received the opening kickoff here tonight. Obviously, an interception thrown by Ikaika Torres on that possession. Goes to the ground first is Pearl City as Lennon Elder shimmies his way forward for about 3 yards, makes it 2nd down and 7 now with under 3 minutes to play here in the first half. Hey, OIA Sports on HSRN is brought to you in part by Hawaii Pacific Health. Hawaii Pacific Health takes the team approach to providing the expert care you need when and where you need it. Together, we are creating a healthier Hawaii. Torres takes the snap, looking over to the right sideline. Jump ball thrown and drops incomplete. Was looking for Tavon Ching Harrell, who got a couple of fingertips on it but couldn't quite haul it in. Makes it 3rd down and 7 now for Pearl City, and this is kind of exactly what you don't want to do if you're the Chargers. With 2:28 still remaining here in the first half of play and deep in your own territory, you don't want to give the ball back to Moanalua with too much time and good field position, already down 2 scores.
And 3 timeouts. That's another thing. By throwing that incompletion, they basically gave Moanalua a free clock stoppage.
Torres will drop back to throw again. Looking right, throws right. Complete to Lennon Elder, who is met by a Moanalua defender and pushed out of bounds. 2-yard gain makes it 4th and 5. And Moanalua will take their first time out with 2:15 remaining here in the first half of play, and Pearl City getting ready to punt. We'll step aside as well for a quick break. You're listening to OIA Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Great things come in threes, like the game-winning field goal, a hat trick, and Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, now with 3 locations: Kailua, the Moanalua Shopping Center, and the Kapahulu Shopping Center. Visit TimmyT's.com to skip the line and order online today.
I love playing sports, especially for my school. And that's because school sports are special. It's where it's safe to fail. It's where we're taught resilience, where our fear becomes confidence. It's where we learn to get back up after every fall. School sports are where 7.8 million students go from I can't to I can.
This message presented by the HHSAA and the Hawaii Interscholastic Athletic Directors Association.
Out here in the middle of these acres, it can feel like you're the only person on earth. That's how it feels when you're struggling with your mental health, but you don't have to feel alone. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
21-8 your score as Moanalua leads Pearl City here on homecoming night for the Chargers. Pearl City just punted the ball away, scored it out of bounds just around midfield. That's exactly where Moanalua will start, up 21-8 with 2:08 remaining here in the first half to work with. Paul Brecht, Kyle Galdera bringing all the action of this OIA Division I football matchup here tonight, as Moanalua doing it all on offense. Pearl City looking to stay in this one on homecoming night. Handoff goes to Judalena up the middle, and he'll work his way forward for a few yards. Nice gain there on first down for Moanalua.
I like that play call because Moanalua is running the hurry up to get the clock going, so just in case they aren't successful, Pearl City won't have much time to mount a drive, and yet Moanalua is moving the ball methodically. Look for a pass here, maybe to the right side, trips to our near side.
And Harney takes the snap, looking right, throws right, and pass will bounce off the hands of Ryder Chang, incomplete. Makes it 3rd down and 8.
And that's a spot where you really miss Kealoha, who's still nursing what looks to be a left shoulder injury. Chang, like we've mentioned, the team captain, but as the junior, not quite up to snuff with Kealoha, a fellow junior on the season. But again, we'll see if Chang can play that role left by Kealoha suffering that shoulder injury.
Yeah, and as you mentioned it, Kealoha still on the sideline, his helmet not even by his side right now. That's usually not a good sign when it comes to coming back into the game. Snap goes to Harney, and then pass over to the right side finds Chang. Chang scoops it up just before it hits the turf, and it'll be a 3-yard completion. Make it 4 yards, as it'll be 4th down and 3 for Moanalua. Just over a minute remaining here in the first half. Moanalua still lined up and looking to the sideline for a play. Kyle, do you think here they're just trying to draw Pearl City offside first to see, maybe take a timeout after? Or do you think they snap this ball right here, as they do exactly that with 50 seconds left? Looking deep down the left sideline and broken up by the Pearl City defensive back. A good job there by the Chargers defense, not falling asleep and asking the same question that I was if Moanalua was even going to snap it. Namenehune do exactly that and turn the ball over on downs for the second time here in the first half.
Yeah, and that was Sid Kikuchi in coverage, the 6-foot, 170-pound senior linebacker on the slot receiver. So not only good coverage, but a good play on the ball, and it's a turnover on downs. And for Pearl City now, they get the ball back near midfield, so maybe they can add a few more points for their way.
Pearl City still with 2 timeouts of their own to work with as well, should they get this ball down the field. Handoff goes to Elder. Elder works his way past the 45-yard line to the 47 of Pearl City.
Yeah, and for the Chargers, not really waving the white flag, but going back to what I said last possession, now's the time to chew up the clock, get into the locker room, only down by 13. That's a win for Pearl City, I would say.
Considering how ugly the first quarter was for Pearl City, a far better second quarter here, as Torres takes the snap and is intercepted across the middle. Ikaika Torres is intercepted by Moanalua's number 4, Isaiah Alualu Tipoai, and he'll take it all the way back to the house for a touchdown just before the half. Nightmare strikes for Pearl City.
It's actually going to be down at the 1, and Moanalua, I believe, called a timeout in time. So 3 seconds left. That was a good job by the referee of hustling down there, and an even better job of the Pearl City offense of tackling the defender, Alualu Tipoai, before he got that touchdown. So we'll see now if Moanalua kicks the field goal or if they're going to go for it and try to punch in another score.
And a good catch by you, as it's set up inside the 1-yard line for Moanalua, as the interception, a nightmare for Pearl City right before the half, and an opportunity here to stop things from getting any worse, as Moanalua trying to figure out what they're going to do. with just 3 seconds remaining, time for one play and one play only here before the half.
Right, and that's going back to what I said. Pearl City on that one, just sit on the ball, get into the locker room. There's really nothing good that can come of throwing a pass like that by Torres. I mean, they weren't even throwing deep enough to make a difference. It was about a 10-yard pass right down the middle, easily picked off by Moanalua.
And for the first time tonight, Isaac Harney lines up under center, and it causes an immediate timeout by Pearl City as the Chargers, wanting to get all of the personnel right for this last play of the first half. And it gives me an opportunity to remind you that Hawaii Sports Radio Network has partnered with Scoring Live to bring you the best overall coverage of high school sports in the state. Visit scoringlive.com for live scores, stats, photos, league schedules, and more. Can check them out here tonight, as well as our Michael Lascaro, I believe, statting for Scoring Live while still also helping us out with the broadcast, taking photos as well. Our superhuman, just another one of our 5-tool players here at HSRN.
The only negative to him is he's a Rams fan. Everything else is cool.
He's a pretty good guy and works very, very hard, as do those people over at Scoring Live, trying to bring you all the best coverage of high school sports here in Hawaii.
And we'll see here if the quarterback, Harney, lines up under center again. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to run a trick play, maybe kind of leak one of the tight ends out and get a cheap touchdown that way.
And a tight formation once again. A different formation, but again under center goes Harney, and again Pearl City going to call timeout here. And we kind of talked about it off air, Kyle. Both of these teams had plenty of timeouts in their back pocket going down to the end of this first half for moments like this where you need to figure out the personnel, whether it's offensively or defensively. And this, a massive play in the game. The difference between going into the locker room either up or down 2 versus 3 scores is massive.
Yeah, and this chess match between Coach Andrew Manley of Moanalua and Robin Kami and his staff for Pearl City is going to be, this is the big play. You mentioned that, Paul. It could turn a 13-point lead into 20 or keep it where it is, knowing that Pearl City basically has no room for error at this point. They've shown that they really can't mount an offense enough to come back from 3 scores, let alone 2 right now. So this is a big defensive opportunity for Pearl City. Now for Moanalua, like I said, this might be one of those trick play opportunities where you're on the half-yard line. Maybe you get a quarterback sneak. Maybe you get a leak out, have a tight end, get into the corner. Right now we have a bunch formation. They sprint to the line. We'll see what Moanalua does here.
Once again, under center goes Harney. Man in motion is Barang. Handoff goes to Judah Lena, who scampers into the end zone untouched for a touchdown. His second of the night, his second of the quarter.
And a really good job there by Moanalua, sending Barang in motion. That took all the attention of the Pearl City defense onto the left side of the field. It opened the Red Sea, or the Purple Sea, during this purple rain here in Pearl City, as Judah Lena scampered untouched into the end zone for 6.
And it completes the nightmare scenario for Pearl City, who instead of having the final possession of the first half and going into the locker room down just 2 scores, now after the interception and the touchdown run by Kalino, Judah Lena makes it 27-8 pending a PAT here, as there's no time left on the game clock, and it's going to be a fake play as Barang going to take it, and it's intercepted. It's intercepted on the 2-point conversion try as Jace Barang sprinted out left after taking the snap and just tossed it to the Pearl City defender.
Yeah.
And that'll end your first half as Moanalua leads 27-8.
And really quickly, that was a design play, but props to Pearl City. They probably saw that on film. Barang was the holder, and already that's going to send off all kind of fireworks, right? Their best athlete being the holder on a field goal. I wonder what's happening.
Plenty of trickery and plenty of interesting plays throughout the first half. We'll talk about all of them coming up during the halftime break. You won't want to miss it. You're listening to OIA Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
The OIA lives here. KGU AM, K236CR. Honolulu is the Hawaii Sports Radio Network on 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Here's Dr. Jamie Fukui with a health tip from Hawaii Pacific Health.
When it comes to breast cancer, early detection could save your life. That's why it's recommended all women get a mammogram every year, starting at age 40, or younger if there's a history of breast cancer in your family. Schedule your mammogram today at one of our medical centers or clinics. Women who get a mammogram in October will receive a special gift while supplies last.
Online scheduling is easy at hawaiipacifichealth.org/mammogram.
Aloha, beautiful people. Wake up in the den with me, Ku'ule Agbayani, along with Paul Brecht and Michael Lescaro, weekday mornings from 8 to 10, right here on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760, or listen on demand at hawaiisportsradio.com. You can even watch the show every Monday on our YouTube channel. Want to get in on the conversation? Shoot us a text at 808-888-KGU1. That's 808-888-5481.
In school sports, it's easy to see the wins, the moments that make headlines. But there's so much work that goes unseen for any of it to happen. My name is Phil Risen, and I'm the Executive Director of the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. Throughout the country, athletic administrators dedicate countless hours to making life-changing opportunities possible for student athletes through sports. Their sacrifice is fueled by the belief that every student can grow and deserves their time to shine. On behalf of the NIAAA, we want to thank every athletic administrator for your tireless dedication to providing 7.8 million students across the country a path to a better future.
This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Aloha, I'm Dr. Joe with Upper Cervical Hawaii. So many patients come to me suffering from everything from migraine headaches and vertigo to sciatic and fibromyalgia. And quite honestly, they just want to get their life back. They're skeptical, frustrated, and low on hope because they've tried so many things that have not worked. They often tell me later, I wish I could have tried this first. I'm Dr. Joe with Upper Cervical Hawaii. I can help you. Come and see me.
Call Upper Cervical Hawaii today at 638-1313.
Most of us like to be out in the sun. That's why sunscreen and other safety measures are key to protecting your skin from aging and cancer. The FDA recommends using a sunscreen with an SPF of 15 or higher. Also, look for broad spectrum on the label. That means both harmful ultraviolet A and B rays are blocked. Remember, SPF plus broad spectrum equal healthy fun in the sun. Visit www.fda.gov/sunscreen for more information. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
OIA Athletics on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Back here at Pearl City on homecoming night, where the Chargers trail Na Menehune of Moanalua 27-8 at halftime. Paul Brecht, Kyle Galdera bringing you all the action from tonight's OIA Division I clash between the top and the bottom of the division so far through the season. Na Menehune coming into this one 5-1 overall, 3-0 in OIA Division I play. Pearl City 0-5 and 0-3 since OIA Division I play began. But the Chargers throughout that first half, Kyle, had plenty of moments, plenty of flashes where you could see the talent starting to come through. But unfortunately for the home team here tonight on their homecoming night, just too many self-inflicted penalties, turnovers, whatever it may be, too many self-inflicted errors throughout the first half, and that's why you see them down by 19 at the break.
Right, and not only, Paul, the errors, but at the wrong time. There were some missed snaps on their second drive that led to a Moanalua touchdown, and of course the interception on Pearl City's first drive led to another touchdown, and then that last pick right before halftime led to the third Moanalua touchdown. So you could argue that if Pearl City had played a clean game, I mean, this is far-fetched, but they might be up here 8-0. And here we have it, Moanalua up by quite a bit.
You could at least make the point that it's a one-possession game. You could at least make the point that it's perhaps tied at this point, where if you're Pearl City, you probably take that idea into the locker room now, where you're like, hey, we're beating ourselves. Moanalua is not necessarily beating us. And that's not to take away from Na Menehune, who, every step of the way here tonight seems like has had an answer whenever Pearl City gave them a little bit of trouble, a little bit of the business here through the first half. Moanalua, to their credit, has responded, and a big part of that, Jace Barang, the player that he is, the dynamic receiver that he is, and just how he can kind of make something out of nothing. We saw that multiple times throughout the first half, and although he doesn't have a touchdown per se, he does have everything else to help out for Moanalua.
Yeah, and for Barang, he's the do-it-all guy. 3 catches, 52 yards, a long of 44, and that 44-yard reception basically went from 7 yards where he caught it and add that 30-plus yards to it. And because of that, that set up the second score and got Moanalua rolling. So we'll see if Barang gets a little more involved in the offense, especially with the injury that Kealoha, a left shoulder injury, suffered in the second quarter. Hopefully that young man can come back, or perhaps Moanalua will keep him out, knowing that they have a big test against Lelehua next week.
Yeah, curious to see what happens with Kaisen Kealoha, the second leading receiver this season for Moanalua. Came into this one with 25 receptions for 344 yards and 5 touchdowns. Clearly that second fiddle to Jace Barang, and tell you what, a pretty good fiddle at that. Curious to see what Moanalua does with him as the night goes on. And then speaking of guys who are banged up a little bit, curious to see how Ikaika Torres continues to play as this one goes on. Rainy, a little bit chilly, continues to take big hits, and already saw him twisted up on the turf for Pearl City. You want to see him stay healthy as this one goes on as well, while he continues to play relatively well. I know 2 interceptions, but outside of there, doing a lot for the Chargers.
Right, and it's going to be on the hands of Kiheva and Tomas to get open quickly so that Torres can get the ball out quickly, because the more he dances around back there, we've mentioned multiple times, he's only 5'7", so it's not like he's going to be able to see over that O-line and really survey the field. That's why he's throwing a lot to the outside. So because of that, the receivers need to work their way open, make the catches, keep the ball in play, and get the clock moving as Pearl City tries to get back in this game.
It'll be really interesting to see how each of these sides goes about the second half, and we'll break that all down on the other side of the next update. Our Ku'ule Agbayani back in studio will give you a look around the island, a look around college sports, and a little look at what happened with the Rainbow Wahine earlier today as well. And then on the other side of that, when we come back, the keys to the game for the second half for Pearl City versus Moanalua. You won't want to miss it. You're listening to OIA Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Sunday on Compass Media Networks, coverage of the NFL. It's a primetime cross-conference showdown from Pittsburgh as the Steelers host the Dallas Cowboys. Hi, this is Jeff Biggs. Join Kevin Ray, Steve Berline, and me for all the action as Dak Prescott and the Cowboys go for back-to-back wins on the road. It's the Cowboys and the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. If it's the NFL, it's right here
on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
No matter where you live, work, worship, or go to school on the island of Oahu, Ko'olau FCU wants you to join today.
What about here?
Yep.
Or here?
Yes, there too.
And over here?
You got it. If you live, work, worship, or go to school on the island of Oahu, you can join Ko'olau FCU today and discover the credit union difference. Visit ko'olaufcu.org for more info. Ko'olau Federal Credit Union is federally insured by the NCUA.
Welcome back to Hawaii Sports Radio Network's coverage of OIA football. I'm Ku'ule Agbayani, and I'll send you back to the guys, Paul Brecht and Kyle Galdera, in just a little bit to bring you second half action of this game between Moanalua and Pearl City. The Na'amenehune leading the Chargers 27-8. Going to take a little look around the world, or the tonight in high school football, as we look around up the road from our studios here in Kalihi. You got Farrington leading Kapolei 10-7 at the half. Lelehua, it's a really, really low-scoring game between Lelehua and Waianae right now out there on in Wahiwa. Lelehua only up 3-0 over Waianae. Kaiser with a 17-6 lead over Roosevelt. Over at the ILH, you had Damien is very much pouring it on to Pac-5. Pac-5 coming off of that win over Iolani last weekend, but Damien a little too much for the Wolfpack, leading them 41-7 in the third quarter. So a lot of the scores going on if you guys want to see it all, and full box scores, including the one from tonight's game between Moanalua and Pearl City. You can head out and check out our partners, scoringlive.com, and see all the breakdown of the stats coming up tomorrow. Not on our airwaves here on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, but some of the big games to look out for tomorrow in high school football. Our guys mentioned it during the broadcast that there's a big one between Mililani and Campbell, the top two teams according to the Scoring Live power rankings, and the top two teams in other media rankings as well. Campbell being the number one ranked team in the state, and Mililani cracking and being the number two, overtaking Kahuku after their win over the Red Raiders. So that game happening tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. at Mililani High School. Another interesting matchup in the ILH. You have St. Louis and Kamehameha Schools, Kapalama, coming back to the OIA in the open division. You got Kahuku playing Waipahu. That one is going to be out there at Kahuku, so going to be a tough one for Waipahu at 6:30 p.m. tomorrow. In Division 2, we've got a good one between McKinley and Kaimuki. Both squads still looking for that first win under their belt, so someone's going to get a win after tomorrow night between McKinley and Kaimuki. That game is happening at 6 o'clock p.m. at Roosevelt High School. Also in action, Castle and Kalani, another Division 2 matchup at 6 o'clock p.m. out at Kaiser, and Aiea and Radford at 6:30 p.m. as well. All right, giving you a look at other things that happened today in the world of college football. Yes, we did have some college football games today. In case you missed it, a thriller with the number 25 ranked UNLV from the Mountain West just falling ever so slightly to Syracuse in overtime, 44-41. So tough one for the Rebels as they crack the AP top 25 for the first time. Also going on is Mililani alum Dylan Gabriel in action with the Oregon Ducks. Oregon beating Michigan State 31-10. And Dylan Gabriel, for his part, passing for 20 of 32, 257 yards, 2 touchdowns, but did have a couple of interceptions. On the ground, he had 3 carries for 22 yards and a touchdown as well. Something else that you guys may have missed, the Rainbow Wahine volleyball team were in action this afternoon, and they rallied to reverse sweep UC San Diego in San Diego. Set scores 13-25, 18-25, 25-14, 25-12, and 15-10 to beat the Tritons and improve to 8-5 or overall 2-1 in the Big West. And they are in action tomorrow afternoon as well at Long Beach State. Game time is scheduled for 4:30 p.m. Hawaii time, and you'll be able to watch it on ESPNU. And last but certainly not least, as we know, there is a big must-win game tomorrow for the Rainbow Warrior football team playing at San Diego State. A game time is at 2 o'clock p.m. Hawaii time, and you guys will be able to watch it on CBS Sports Network. So again, nationally televised, don't need to pay for it. And there you go, CBS Sports Network, the Rainbow Warriors and the San Diego State Aztecs. And I bet the biggest thing and the biggest question mark is head coach Timmy Chang's ability to win on the road, as Coach Chang is 1-12 on the road under his tenure so far, and 0-1 this season. So looking to bounce back from that disappointing loss to their first road game and loss at Sam Houston. All right, that's about wraps us up for a little halftime update, and I'll send it back to the guys after this quick break. You're listening to OIA Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Hawaii Pacific University presents Sharks Weekly on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, live from the eSports Arena powered by DSE Hawaii at HPU's ATM campus. Every week, take a deep dive into the men's and women's athletic programs at HPU. Who are this week's standout performers? Which program is making a splash in the classroom, community, and the game? Tune in to Sharks Weekly, Thursday mornings at 9 on HSRN 95.1 FM and AM 760, or listen on demand at hawaiisportsradio.com.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
I love this song! I love nachos.
Loving everything? You might be buzzed.
You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
OIA athletics on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. Brought to you by Dial Electric Supply.
Back here at Pearl City, Paul Brecht, Kyle Galdera getting ready to bring you the second half of action between the Chargers and Namenehune. 27-8 is your score in favor of visiting Moanalua here on homecoming night for Pearl City. Right now, the homecoming court being announced at midfield. You have a couple of Chargers players who missed the halftime meeting and instead had to take part in homecoming court. Interested to see how that impacts the second half, as it was their starting quarterback Ikaika Torres along with one of his receivers, and nonetheless they are being recognized on the field. The rest of the team awaiting to come back out onto the field, Kyle. And as we look to this second half, just one key for each side from you. For each side, what does Pearl City need to do to get back into it? What does Moanalua need to do to close this one out and remain unbeaten in OIA D1 play?
Well, starting with the Chargers, they need to play a perfect half from here on out. No more turnovers, no more bad snaps. They need to execute. They've had flashes of brilliance, and that's what led to their lone touchdown tonight. But also, especially that last interception really allowed Moanalua to create some breathing room, and that's the last thing you want to do if you're Pearl City, is to let Moanalua run away with it. And for Moanalua, run away with it. Run the ball, take time off the clock, rely on Judalena and Co., and also get Barang more involved. He only has 50-something yards. I would say let's get him over 150, get him a bunch more catches, keep that clock moving, move the chains, and get out of here healthy. That's what Moanalua wanted to do. Of course, Kealoha suffered that shoulder injury, so hopefully he's okay. But keep the rest of your squad healthy as they try to remain undefeated in D1 play.
And just a quick look here at the statistics as we're in our Timmy T's halftime report. This halftime report brought to you by Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, now with 3 locations: Kailua, the Moanalua Shopping Center, and the Kapahulu Shopping Center. Visit TimmyT's.com to order online today. These statistics via Scoring Live. At the halftime break, Moanalua's quarterback Isaac Harney completing 12 of 18 passes for 169 yards and 2 touchdowns. Kalino Judalena, 13 rushes, 61 yards, 2 touchdowns, and just been the workhorse back for Namenehune here tonight. And as you mentioned, Kyle, Jace Barang with just 52 yards on 3 catches through the first half. Like to see him get a little more involved here in the second half. And then over on the other side for Pearl City, Ikaika Torres completing 7 of 11 passes for 61 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. So in theory, I guess he has completed 9 passes. Only 2 have hit the turf here tonight. Either way, Torres doing a nice job playing quarterback for Pearl City here tonight. Going to need even more from him here in the second half, and also going to need even more from their starting running back, Lennon Elder, who had 9 carries for 44 yards, 15 of which came on a single run in the first half. He's one of their do-it-all backs, both in the running game and passing game. Like to see him more active in the second half, which is coming up on the way here soon, as Pearl City getting ready to run out of the blow-up helmet once again. The lineup, the band, all the way out to midfield. It's homecoming night here at Pearl City as the Chargers look to come back from this 27-8 halftime deficit. That's coming on up. Don't go too far. You're listening to OIA Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
This is the Chef of Love, Chef Jannard, TV host and restaurateur. My grandparents harvested their land to sell food and share this overflowing bounty with our community. Grandma said, for every yam we pick, we give one away. In the world they cultivated, I love preparing and eating dinner with my family on Sundays. When our resources changed, food assistance programs sustained us. They gave me fuel to start my first culinary business at 16 years old, and inspiration to donate the extra food in my community. Through my life, I've developed an appetite to work with others to ensure everyone has access to the nutritious food we need to thrive. Together, we can help end hunger. Come on, join the movement with Feeding America by volunteering, donating, and advocating. Learn more at feedingamerica.org/act now.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Sunday on Compass Media Networks, coverage of the NFL. It's a primetime cross-conference showdown from Pittsburgh as the Steelers host the Dallas Cowboys. Hi, this is Jeff Biggs. Join Kevin Ray, Steve Berline, and me for all the action as Dak Prescott and the Cowboys go for back-to-back wins on the road. It's the Cowboys and the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. If it's the NFL, it's right here.
On Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Where do my friends and other students find their voice? We find our voice through the performing arts, along with millions of other high school students. By expressing yourself in a role on stage, through an instrument, or at the debate podium, the performing arts give us freedom to find ourselves, to find our place. The stage is where I can play, perform, and compete with my friends.
Performing arts at your school is where creativity meets courage. Encourage the students in your life to find their voice through the performing arts. This message presented by the NFHS, where we encourage all students to play, perform, and compete together.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I like a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to OIA Athletics on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. Brought to you by Hawaii Pacific Health.
OIA Sports on HSRN is brought to you in part by Hawaii Pacific Health. Hawaii Pacific Health takes the team approach you need to providing the expert care you need when and where you need it. Together, we are creating a healthier Hawaii as the second half here at Pearl City getting ready to get underway as the Chargers on homecoming night trail Na Menehune of Moanalua 27-8. Moanalua will receive the second half kickoff as Pearl City gets set to kick it away. And Kyle, we talked about it before. Both of these squads have shown good, shown bad. It's more about who's been more consistent through the first half, and that's very clearly been Moanalua thus far. An opportunity for Pearl City to get back into it here as the opening kickoff directly at a Moanalua player, and after it's mishandled, another Na Menehune player comes on in to dive on it. That's number 88.
Yeah, Caleb Parsons doing a good job. That's why he's on the hands team apparently, getting the loose pigskin and giving Moanalua a great field position at the 35. And it's one of those where Pearl City kicked it right at one of the upbacks, and he wanted nothing to do with that ball. Basically volleyballed it back into the turf, and then big number 88 scooped it up, getting the position back for Moanalua.
Nice heads-up play by Parsons right there to pick it on up. And so at their own 35, Moanalua will start. Play to begin as Harney steps back to throw, looks to his left, and skies it too high above the receiver's head. Will go incomplete, second down and 10 quickly here for Moanalua.
Yeah, that was dangerous by Moanalua there. Mason Rowe, the DB, was about a foot away from not only picking off that ball, but taking it back the other way for 6. So I'm not sure what that play design was coming out at halftime, but I wouldn't be surprised if Moanalua goes back to the run here.
And that's exactly what they do. Handoff up the middle, cutting outside to the left goes Judalena. And Judalena will finally be pushed out of bounds after picking up about 5. Nice run there by the running back, who had a pair of touchdowns there in the second quarter to help push this lead out to a 19-point advantage for Moanalua.
And now with third and manageable coming up here, I wouldn't be surprised if Moanalua maybe runs some kind of a draw play, maybe a screen out to the right side. Barang looking to his quarterback for kind of a last-minute signal that he then relays to his fellow wide receiver. And I wouldn't be surprised if the offense goes to him right here.
Harney looking to his right, looking for Barang and got him. Drops it into the bucket for Barang, and he's off free to the end zone. Jace Barang in for 6 for the first time tonight, and a big play there on third down for the score, and Moanalua, just like that, at a halftime, strikes again.
And just like we talked about, Barang has a lot of room to work with. Pearl City playing a deep zone coverage, basically giving 5 to 10 yards to each receiver every play. Barang beat his guy, picked up the pass, scampered 60 yards for 6, and just like that, Barang is over the century mark on the receiving yardage line.
Over the century mark on the night, hauls in his 7th touchdown catch of the season, and now Moanalua's lead, pending a PAT, up to 4 scores. And point after attempt up and good. 34-8 your score, just 24 seconds into the second half. Moanalua strikes first. Now a 26-point lead for the visitors. Don't go too far. We'll be right back. You're listening to OIA Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Great things come in threes, like the game-winning field goal, a hat trick, and Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, now with 3 locations: Kailua, the Moanalua Shopping Center, and the Kapahulu Shopping Center. Visit TimmyT's.com to skip the line and order online today.
I'm Scarlett Johansson.
Four seconds into the second half, and Moanalua has already struck again as Jace Barang took it 60 yards to the house. Makes it 34-8. The opening kickoff back to Pearl City goes through the end zone for a touchback. The Chargers will start at their own 20-yard line, facing a steep 26-point deficit. And Kyle, here, if you are the Chargers coaching staff, what are you telling your team after taking a gut punch just like that out of the break?
Yeah, well, they're definitely shell-shocked, giving up a touchdown before halftime and right out of halftime. Almost within 27 seconds, they gave up 2 scores. So now it's time for the offense to come back, and right on cue, they're gobbled up by the Moanalua defense. They're going to need to come up with something quickly because the tide is turned in the favor of Na'amenehune.
Na'amenehune doing an excellent job just coming out of the halftime break with some fire. They quickly attack that Pearl City defense, and here, nothing doing for Lennon Elder, the running back for Pearl City, met behind the line of scrimmage and dropped down for a 1-yard loss. Makes it 2nd down and 11 as we tick under 11 minutes to play here in the third quarter. Torres takes the snap, looking right, and almost intercepted in and out of the hands of a Na'amenehune defender. And lucky to not throw his 3rd interception of the night right there was Ikaika Torres.
Yeah, and again, Torres telegraphing his passes, looking right at the receiver, and right there, Max Otto McCoy almost picked it off. It was almost too good of a pass to the opposite team. It hit Otto McCoy right in the numbers, but he dropped it. And Torres, if he's going to keep doing that, it's going to be easy pickings for Moanalua tonight.
And it'll make it 3rd down and 11 now for Pearl City. Backed up inside their own 20-yard line. Already given up a touchdown here to start the second half. Dropping all the way back goes Torres. Little bubble screen to the left side goes Pearl City. And running left to right, west to east there was number 5, Christian Keheva. And Keheva couldn't get much of anything, ends up being dropped down for a 3-yard loss instead. 4th and 14, and exactly what you wanted to see if you are a Moanalua fan. He has come out of halftime with a great strike down the field, and then immediately the defense playing complementary football forces a punt.
Yeah, and you mentioned bubble screen. It was Otto McCoy who burst the bubble for Pearl City. He comes back after dropping the interception and gets the tackle for loss. Great job there on defense, and Pearl City forced the punt.
Snap is clean this time. Punt down the right sideline and bounces out of bounds. Not quite at the 50-yard line, so it'll be Moanalua starting in Pearl City territory when they get the ball here to start, up 26 points with 9:58 remaining here in the third quarter of play. Gives me an opportunity to bring you your attention to an upcoming OIA broadcast where Moanalua once again in action, except on the volleyball court. Be sure to tune in next upcoming Wednesday. Kalaheo takes on Moanalua at 7 p.m. You can hear that here on HSRN. Tonight, Namenehune taking care of business against Pearl City as the handoff to Judah Lena goes up the middle, shaking off defenders, and now the ball comes loose. And diving on it is a Pearl City defender. Jamie Castro comes on in to recover the fumble, as up until that point, Kalino Judah Lena has been having an outstanding night. A great run there to keep working, but you see the issues if you keep going just a little bit too long, try and make a little too much out of something, and there, a great job by the Pearl City defense to punch it on out.
And Judah Lena there needs to know that his team is up by 26. Take the 5-yard gain, keep the clock moving. I could see if they were down by 7, then you're going to churn and burn trying to get those extra yards. But situational awareness, that's where good teams turn into great teams.
And now it'll be Pearl City's offense once again. Torres takes the snap, fakes the handoff, passes across the middle to a receiver, that's Javian Mizuno, who hauls it on in for a 4-yard gain. Gets Pearl City out to their own 30-yard line, makes it 2nd down and 6 now.
TJ Smith with a nice tackle there for Moanalua, limiting the damage, only giving up about 4 yards.
Torres gets the signal from the sideline, clapping his hands, getting ready to go. 2nd down and 6, 9:15 remaining here in the third. Torres takes the snap, looks right, fires right, and broken up by the Moanalua defender. Pass was intended for Keaton Thomas, and it looks like there's going to be a flag on the play.
Yeah, and while they sort out that flag, another great play by Otto McCoy. I don't know if it'll count after this roughing the passer. It won't, but great play nonetheless.
And the beating that Ikaika Torres has taken tonight continues, as you're right. Roughing the passer is called against Moanalua. Taking out the nice play by Otto McCoy. And it'll set up a fresh set of downs now for Pearl City out at the 45-yard line. 1st down and 10 now for the Chargers.
And again, for Moanalua, you can't let Pearl City back in this game. You've just scored 2 big touchdowns, one to end the first half, one to start the second half, and now you're basically giving that momentum right back to the Chargers.
An opportunity to slam the door shut here for Moanalua, but Pearl City not going away quite yet. Little screen pass here out to Elder. Elder hauls it in with one hand and then gets bottled up by the Moanalua defense once again behind the line of scrimmage. Going to be a loss of 1 yard after the nice catch originally by Elder.
And that was Sean Keonui. I believe he has a pick earlier in this game. Made a nice open field tackle there, getting the loss. And that could have been a big play for Pearl City if the receiver had broken that one tackle. He would have had about 15 yards ahead of him.
Torres drops back, fires across the middle, and off the hands of the intended receiver, Tavon Ching Harrell, and popped up in the air for a second, but drops to the ground before a Namenehune defender can get there. And instead, it'll bring up 3rd down and 12 now for Pearl City. Down 26 points here, and after some promising plays in a row by Pearl City, facing 3rd and long. Torres by himself in the backfield, and now whistle will blow. Stoppage of play. No flag on the play. So instead, we'll go right back to it. Torres gets the signal from the sideline once again. Clapping his hands, Ikaika Torres waits for the snap, Trips out right. 2 receivers to his left. Takes the snap, looks left, fires left. Jump ball up for Ching Harrell. And once again, off the hands of the lanky receiver. Can't bring it on in. Makes it 4th down and 12 now for Pearl City. And out comes the punting unit once again.
Yeah, and for Torres, maybe 2 or 3 clean pockets this entire game. He's been on the run, pressured consistently, and because of that, the pass was high, tipped away, and dropped by the receiver, and that's why it's going to be another punt going to Moanalua.
You can see Torres just a little bit be worried about the pressure that's bearing down at him on every single play, and for the most part has done a nice job avoiding it, using his legs, as this punt will be short and drop in, received by Moanalua just past the 35-yard line of Namenehune. And Moanalua looking to add on to this 26-point lead. Will begin from pretty good starting position inside their own territory.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Moanalua goes back to that attack. Run the ball, and then go deep to Barang. Seems to be a time-tested formula so far for Namenehune. It's been working tonight.
So far, especially over the last about 5 minutes of game action, Moanalua has had this Pearl City defense back on its heels, it feels like. As snap and handoff goes up the middle. Once again, Judalena will be taken down after a gain of maybe 1. As you mentioned it before, Kyle, Moanalua likes to do this, lull you to sleep just a hair with the big bruising back in Judalena, but then attack down the field with their bevy of weapons, and obviously lost one of those already here tonight in Kaisen Kealoha, but continuing to go to the ground once again as Judalena takes the handoff, rumbles his way up the middle, and gets out past the 45-yard line of Moanalua. And it'll make it 3rd down and manageable now for Namenehune.
And we'll continue to keep an eye on Barang. He is in the slot every play. And again, Pearl City is giving him a 10-yard cushion. You have to change it up. Maybe press him a bit. Maybe put a safety deep and then get press coverage going. Almost like a double team in basketball, right? You don't let the best player, the best offensive player, have that much room. There he is again.
Harney takes the snap, fires over to the right side, tried to get it on over to Jace Barang, but drops down incomplete. It'll make it 4th and 2 now for Moanalua. But you're right, Kyle, an interesting strategy by Pearl City to go single coverage on Barang with no safety sitting for some help behind either. And we saw already in this half the Chargers get burned by it there instead. See the ball drop to the turf, makes it 4th down and 2, and it looks like Moanalua will go for it from their own 46-yard line. And flags will fly as there was some pre-snap movement. Looked like Pearl City might have jumped the snap, and a free 1st down could be on the way. It is, as Pearl City called for encroachment once again there, and we've seen this story before all throughout the night, Kyle. Good things for Pearl City just immediately almost erased by a bad play, where you saw it in the first half with the offense. You pick up a penalty 1st down with pass interference, only to fumble back super far here. Pass out to the left side, complete to Ryder Chang. Before he's pushed out of bounds, he'll pick up another 1st down, move the chains again. 11-yard pickup for the wide receiver.
Yeah, really good job by Moanalua, like I said in the pregame, using their pass game as an extension of the run game. It was only a 3 or 4 yard out, but then the receiver there, Ryder Chang, took it, worked upfield, and made it a longer gain and actually moved it ahead for a 1st down.
1st and 10 now for Moanalua. Whistles blow as false start going to be called against Namenehune. A little bit of movement before the snap.
And for Moanalua, again, you can't have these penalties. Coach Andrew Manley not happy there. His team needs to play that complete effort, and you don't want them falling back into that sense of false security. Even though they are up by 26, you really have to keep pouring it on, not in an unsportsmanlike way, but more of just conditioning yourselves when you go up against your next opponent, like Lelehua, or even into the OIA D1 playoffs.
You have to be good on the little details as Moanalua snaps the ball here, fires over to the right side. Harney with a great pass over to the sideline, connects with Ryder Chang, and will pick up, call it about 10 yards. They'll make it 2nd down and 6 for Moanalua following the false start penalty. Good job picking up a good chunk of the yardage and then some there.
Yeah, really good job by Harney of creating space and time in the backfield. He ran away from 2 defenders, found his open receiver near the sideline, and made a beautiful dart.
Harney takes the snap from the shotgun, looks left, now scrambles around a little bit, trying to get away from a defender but can't. He'll be wrapped up in the backfield. That's number 50, Koo Minor, who comes up with a big sack on 2nd down, and all that yardage you just gained back if you are Moanalua. You lose once again. A nice play there by Minor.
Yeah, that was a major play by Minor there. Even though, again, Pro City down by 26, those are the type of plays that could potentially get you the ball back, and then you can try to chip away. The last thing you want to do is let Moanalua keep marching, keep taking time off the clock, as we're now 7 minutes into this 3rd quarter.
As you mentioned, now under 5 minutes remaining here in the 3rd. Moanalua ball, 3rd down and 17. Harney takes the snap, drops back, looks left, fires left, connected with Chang before stepping out of bounds at the 31-yard line of Pearl City. And it'll make it 4th down and 3 yards to go. Moanalua's offense stays out on the field, and this is what we've seen from Namenehune all night, where it's 4-down territory almost regardless of where you are. Here, a 4th down and manageable after the 10-yard pickup from Chang. Harney waits. Split to his right is Judalena. Fires over to the right side now to Jace Barang, and Barang will haul it on in and sneak out of bounds after a 5-yard gain, picks up a new set of downs for Moanalua.
And that was a really good job by Moanalua using some of that rub route concept. Now, you might say that sounds like offensive pass interference, but if you do it right like that, you basically let the other receivers guide their defender into the wash, and it freed up Barang for an easy toss and catch, and he smartly caught it and got out of bounds to avoid taking a big hit.
Good self-preservation there by the star receiver for Moanalua. Harney drops on back, and his pass will be batted back down in his face. Jamie Castro with the pressure and the bat down. Good job there by the defensive end for Pearl City. Coming up with the pass, or with the deflection, makes it 2nd down and 10 now for Moanalua. They're set up at the Pearl City 26-yard line. Scores 34-8 in favor of Namenehune. 4:32 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Paul Brecht, Kyle Galdera bringing the action of this OIA Division I matchup. Harney takes the snap, fires it outside to La'akea Tapoan. Tapoan is going to work his way past the sticks for another 1st down. Gets to the Pearl City 14-yard line. And now another opportunity for Moanalua to pick up a fresh set of downs, but into the red zone once again goes Namenehune.
And that was more of a traditional screen where you throw it behind the line of scrimmage. You have a couple of blockers setting up that little wall. You make the catch. You pick which side you're going to run to. The receiver did that, committed to it. Not only got positive yardage, but churned ahead for another big 1st down.
This wide receiver core has been impressive tonight for Moanalua. Harney fakes the handoff, now will look to the end zone, tried to find Barang, and instead off the hands of number 14, Jace Lorenzo. The Pearl City defensive back had an opportunity to pick that one off, and with his hands on his head, you can see that he really wanted that one back.
Yeah, that's a one we have to circle in the play sheet there, as it could have been a turnover for Pearl City, but now Moanalua gets another bite at the apple, still in the red zone, trying to go up by 30-plus if they can get another touchdown.
Set up at the Pearl City 14 is Moanalua. Harney takes the snap, handoff up the middle. Up the middle goes Judalena before he's tripped up at the 6-yard line. Kalino Judalena doing a nice job tonight, just churning forward, and it feels like every time he's gotten the ball, he hasn't been tackled for a loss. It's always 1, 2, 4, 6 yards, and here they'll go to him once again up the middle, stumbling in and through for a touchdown. A 6-yard score for Kalino Judalena, his third touchdown of the night. And it's a 40-8 lead for Moanalua with 3:18 left here in the third quarter.
And you called that perfectly, Paul. Judalena would not be stopped. He not only got the first down, but then went through 2 more levels of defenders, working his way into the end zone. And I'm going to throw a little tease out there. Be sure to stay tuned after this game as we award our Timmy T's Grinder of the Game. And right now, I think Judalena might be the front runner for that prestigious award.
Kalino Judalena entered the night with 318 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. He's up to 3 touchdowns this here game alone. The extra point is up and good for Moanalua. 41-8 is your score in favor of Na'amenehune. A rout here on homecoming. Still in the third quarter. Don't go too far. You're listening to OIA Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Here's Dr. Jamie Fukui with a health tip from Hawaii Pacific Health.
When it comes to breast cancer, early detection could save your life. That's why it's recommended all women get a mammogram every year, starting at age 40, or younger if there's a history of breast cancer in your family. Schedule your mammogram today at one of our medical centers or clinics. Women who get a mammogram in October will receive a special gift while supplies last.
Online scheduling is easy at hawaiipacifichealth.org/mammogram.
OIA Athletics on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
41-8. Moanalua putting it on here in the second half over Pearl City. Paul Brecht, Kyle Galdera bringing the action here tonight between 2 OIA Division I schools. And so far tonight, the story of the night has been Moanalua's ability to capitalize on these Pearl City miscues, and then Pearl City, the amount of miscues coming in biggest moments for the Chargers. Ikaika Torres takes the snap, drops back, looking deep down the middle, jumping, and he brought it in. The pass is completed to number 1, Javian Mizuno. A deep ball down the seam. And Mizuno jumps up and mossed the defender into Moanalua territory. Just like that is Pearl City, and a shot in the arm for the Chargers, and when they really needed it.
Yeah, Mizuno came into the game averaging 17 yards a catch. He added to that margin right there.
Handoff up the middle, goes to Lennon Elder. Elder gets back to the line of scrimmage and falls forward for about a yard. But those type of electrifying plays is why you stick with Torres as well when you see him go through these turnover issues. A couple of interceptions, as this one almost intercepted. A tip drill goes off one defender as the pass was intended for Christian Kiheva and instead falls to the turf. Lucky to not throw interception number 3 right there for Ikaika Torres. And as I was just mentioning it, where you got to take care of the ball as well. Torres, you stick with him through those rough moments because of what you saw just before. A 40-yard pass perfectly placed down the field to a place where his receiver can go and get it. You need more of those and less of the last play where it's almost intercepted. Torres drops back, looks left, fires towards the end zone, and a little too far out there was the pass for Tavon Ching Harrell. Falls incomplete, makes it third down now for Pearl City. Fourth down now for Pearl City.
And that was a good idea by Pearl City. However, the defense for Moanalua was ready, and that's the benefit of having a 30-plus point lead, is you can really sag back and play that zone type of coverage and really just wait for the ball to come to you. And on the previous play, 2 Moanalua players were a couple of fingers away from not only intercepting it, but taking that ball back for a pick six.
Nothing but green was in front of them and instead falls to the turf. We mentioned it. Lucky for Ikaika Torres to not have thrown his third interception of the night. 4th and 9 now for Pearl City. They'll go for it. Torres takes the snap, looking deep down the right sideline, and will fire it up and out of bounds. No chance there for his receiver to haul it on in, and it'll be a turnover on downs for the Chargers.
Yeah, and that was a tough opportunity for Pearl City. Of course, everybody in this stadium knew Pearl City was passing, including the Moanalua defense. So they just played back, guarded that first down line, and, of course, it forced Torres to throw it out of bounds. And now for Moanalua, with the 30-point margin, 30-plus point margin, if they can add another score here and really create enough breathing room where then maybe you can downshift a bit, get some subs in, and get as many guys healthy as you can going into next week's matchup.
A good point by you. We are in mercy rule territory where the clock begins to run if you go up by more than 35 points. Right now, the margin 33 in favor of Moanalua. Isaac Harney steps back and tosses to the left side, incomplete. Pass was intended for La'akea Tapaoan and falls incomplete. 2nd down and 10 now for Moanalua. And you're right, Kyle, though, where you look at the upcoming schedule for Na'Menehune, they have another tough opponent in Lelehua coming up next, one that you always expect to be a physical, grinded-out matchup. You've already seen one of your top receivers in Kaisen Kealoha go down tonight with an injury on what has been a wet and damp and cold night. You don't want to see any more of that as this one goes on. Pass completed to the left side to Ryder Chang. Shakes free from one defender and works his way into Pearl City territory before being knocked out of bounds at the 40-yard line.
And a great job by Chang. He came in to get more of the reps after Kealoha went out. And to his credit, Moanalua really hasn't missed a beat. And again, going back to Moanalua, just a 3-yard pass, but these receivers turn those short pickups into first downs.
They're electrifying after the catch, and that reminds me, this game and OIA Sports on HSRN is brought to you in part by Dial Electric Supply, Hawaii's premier lighting distributor and supplier, lighting up Hawaii since 1972. Run on the ground goes forward for about 4 or 5 yards, makes it 2nd down, and call it 5 now for Moanalua.
Yeah, Moanalua basically owning the momentum and owning the timing in this game. Everything working for them right now. Now it's just a matter of discipline and execution. If they can continue to run this offense, don't commit any more turnovers, they can get out of this game unscathed.
Snap, handoff goes to number 14, cutting across on the right side. Gets a little bit of space into the second level in there for a first down. That was Dwayne Miller, who had the second touchdown of the night for Moanalua there, getting the handoff and going away once again. It might have been, once again, one of those little shovel passes forward. Either way, a big pickup for Miller and a new set of downs for Na'Menehune.
Yeah, and Miller goes by DJ. He was playing the hits right there. Got the ball, got his full head of steam, followed his blockers, and then plunged ahead for yet another Na'Menehune first down.
Under a minute to play here in the third quarter. Moanalua driving once again. Harney looking right, trying to set up a screen to Ryder Chang, and airmails it just a little bit over the receiver. It'll fall incomplete, make it 2nd down now for Moanalua. 34 seconds remain here in the third quarter as Na'Menehune lead Pearl City 41-8. Pearl City's homecoming night here had a nice halftime session, performance by the band, performance by the cheerleaders, the homecoming court, and all. Good vibes still here tonight, despite not as great a showing in the second half for Pearl City. 2nd down and 10 now for Moanalua. Harney takes the snap, fires over the middle, floats it to Ryder Chang, who hauls it on in at the 5-yard line. 1st and goal coming up for Moanalua, and Ryder Chang like you mentioned, Kyle, doing an excellent job stepping in for the injured Kaisen Kealoha and really not skipping a beat.
And for Moanalua here, under 20 seconds to go in the quarter, selfishly, they want to score because that would eliminate them having to go all the way to the other side of the field and really tire out those linemen who are working hard in the trenches.
Great call by you. 5 seconds remain here in the third quarter. Handoff goes to Miller off the right side, and he'll be taken down at the 3-yard line. It'll be second down and goal. When we come back through 3 quarters of play here in Pearl City, it's all Moanalua 41-8 here over Pearl City. Don't go too far. You're listening to OIA Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Great things come in threes, like the game-winning field goal, a hat trick, and Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, now with 3 locations: Kailua, the Moanalua Shopping Center, and the Kapahulu Shopping Center. Visit TimmyTees.com to skip the line and order online today.
Aloha, I'm Dr. Joe with Upper Cervical Hawaii. So many patients come to me suffering from everything from migraine headaches and vertigo to sciatic and fibromyalgia. And quite honestly, they just want to get their life back. They're skeptical, frustrated, and low on hope because they've tried so many things that have not worked. They often tell me later, I wish I could have tried this first. I'm Dr. Joe with Upper Cervical Hawaii. I can help you. Come and see me.
Call Upper Cervical Hawaii today at 638-1313.
Sports allow us to play, learn, and grow. But there's something more important than victory. At the U.S. Center for Safe Sport, we believe every athlete deserves to be safe. Safe from abuse and misconduct on and off the field. We equip athletes, parents, coaches, and others with the right education to recognize, prevent, and respond to harmful behavior. Join the movement to champion respect and end abuse at uscenterforsafesport.org.
Home of the Los Angeles Clippers, KGU AM K236CR is the Hawaii Sports Radio Network on AM 760, 95.1 FM.
Fourth quarter action starting here as Moanalua driving once again, leading Pearl City 41-8. Paul Brecht, Kyle Goldera bringing you all the action here tonight on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network between a pair of OIA Division I schools. And a beautiful night for some football here in Hawaii. And in case you're looking for the best coverage of high school sports, Hawaii Sports Radio Network has partnered with Scoring Live to bring you the best overall coverage of high school sports in the state. Visit scoringlive.com for live scores, stats, photos, league schedules, and more. Back to action here from the 3-yard line. They'll go to the air, and wide open is Jace Barang. Connecting with Isaac Harney for the second time tonight, the second time here in the second half. It sets us into mercy rule territory where the running clock will begin, as it's a 47-8 lead pending a PAT now for Moanalua.
And that's one of those question mark plays, right? If you're Pearl City, how do you let the top athlete on the field, regardless of what team, get that wide open? I could only think maybe somebody got caught in the wash trying to come across, but a relatively easy score for Barang there. And nice job by that young man. A great night here on this gridiron.
Perhaps Barang's easiest touchdown of the season, as the PAT is up and good, makes it 48-8 now in favor of Moanalua. And we'll step aside real quick for a break as a 40-point lead for Na Menehune here on the road. You're listening to OIA Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Great things come in threes, like the game-winning field goal, a hat trick, and Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, now with 3 locations: Kailua, the Moanalua Shopping Center, and the Kapahulu Shopping Center. Visit TimmyTees.com to skip the line and order online today.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
OIA Athletics on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. Brought to you by Dial Electric Supply.
Kickoff goes through the back of the end zone as Pearl City will start from their own 20, trailing 48-8 as the running clock has begun here. The mercy rule rules into effect as now the only things that'll stop the clock scoring, penalties, injuries, or timeouts. And as the clock begins to run, we have just over 11 minutes remaining and a 40-point lead for Na'Menehune, the top team in OIA Division I, currently sitting at 5-1 and 3-0 in OIA D1 play, and looking well on their way to 4-0.
And for Pearl City here, obviously you're down by 40, and coming back is probably not in the cards, but what you want to do is get some great plays on film, have something to build on for next week, and even though they're probably going to move to 0-6, 0-4 in league play, there's still a bunch of games left to play. The season isn't over yet, and we've seen stranger things, right? Teams have kind of snuck into the playoffs, got hot at the right time, and Pearl City is still kind of hanging right on that edge there. So for the Chargers here, still a lot to play for, down by 40.
You can clearly see the good that is there with Pearl City as Ikaika Torres will fake the handoff and now get shoved out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage for about a 6-yard loss there. But you can see the good that is there for the Chargers throughout the night. Some quality players, some quality plays. The defense has shown up at times where you come up with a fumble recovery when Moanalua is driving down the field, and then you sit here and you have to think about all of the things that came after those plays and how you can't build on it if you continually go backwards. And that's what Pearl City needs to focus on here to close this one out. Under 10 minutes to play, trailing 48-8, is, like you mentioned, just putting some good plays on tape, trying to see the positivity that can go. And this one not so positive for Pearl City. This one tossed up and intercepted by Moanalua. That's number 10, Sean Keaunui. And he'll make his way all the way back for a touchdown, as it felt like that one moved almost in slow motion. As soon as Torres popped the ball up in the air, seemed destined to be intercepted.
So that's Keaunui's second pick of the game. And with that touchdown, I wonder now, does our Timmy T's grinder of the game get a little interesting here? Because obviously so many great players to pick from, but how often do you get to give a defensive player the grinder of the game? Maybe our guy here, Keaunui, is in the running.
It's an excellent call out by you. There is plenty to still be figured out here tonight, even if the result might not be in question at this point. Still some things to figure out, as in who our Timmy T's grinder of the game will end up going to. You're going to have to stick around for the post-game show to find out that, as they'll set up. Moanalua sets up for a PAT, up and good. 55-8 now. Moanalua leads over Pearl City, and this is, unfortunately for the Chargers, exactly where the defense has been all year, Kyle. 56 points given up per game at this point through 5 contests for Pearl City. Not what you want here tonight. You give up another 55, and like we were just mentioning before, it's not because there are no positives on this team. It's not because there's no talent on this team. It's just the mistakes, and when they come, continue to show in the worst moments for Pearl City.
Right, and even going back to that pick 6, it was a well-drawn-up play. It's just that the receiver was underthrown by 5 yards. Now, if the quarterback Torres had hit his receiver, it would have been a touchdown for Pearl City because he was open. So it just goes to show those little tweaks here and there can mean the difference between a team being 0-3, potentially 0-4, and then on the flip side, like Moanalua, undefeated 3-0, about to go to 4-0.
And for you Moanalua fans tuned in tonight, in case you're also girls volleyball fans, we'll have Kalaheo versus Moanalua coming up this upcoming Wednesday at 7 p.m. here on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, and streaming on hawaiisportsradio.com, and also on our YouTube channel, Hawaii Sports Radio Network, which just reached over 500 subscribers. Mahalo to all of you who subscribe, tune in, and support all of these young student-athletes here in Hawaii. Kickoff goes through the back of the end zone once again. Pearl City will begin from their own 20-yard line, looking once again to build some positive momentum going forward as they go travel to OIA next week for a big, next week for a big one, Saturday, October 12th, 6:30 p.m. against OIA.
Yeah, and Lee, another tough test. There are no easy wins here in this Division I for the OIA. You could venture to say that maybe down in D2 there are some teams that are rebuilding to the point where you can almost look ahead past them, but of course not in the D1. And a team like OIA, I would venture to say Pearl City might give them quite a contest with the geographical rivalry in play. So that one will be a fun one to watch. But again, for Pearl City here, try to end this game with something positive to look forward to, because right now when you look at the record, that's negative. You look at tonight's score, that's a negative. So try to pull out those positives where you can as Pearl City continues this rebuild.
And once again, they absolutely have the ability to have those positives. We've seen it even here tonight, as offside's going to be called against against Moanalua. It'll make it 1st down and 5 for Pearl City. That play quickly tried out a screen to the wide receiver. I believe that was Javian Mizuno, who was hit and blown up immediately by the defender. Drops it, 2nd down and 5 now coming up for the Chargers.
And again, I've said it a few times, when you're down by this many points, you're really limited to what you can do on offense, and that means the defense knows it's a pass. So I'm going to play press on the outside, have a zone in the middle with my deep safeties, and really just play center field.
Run pass option here for Pearl City, and Ikaika Torres rips the ball back, tosses it over to the left sideline, and just out of the reach of Tavon Ching Harrell. Make it 3rd down and 5 now for Pearl City. And this is one of those things where you almost question, did you want to maybe run the ball on 1st and 2nd down when it's already 1st and 5, make it into 2nd and 3rd and manageable? Talking about trying to just make those positive momentum plays going forward for Pearl City, and just have not been able to. And looks like they might get a 1st down anyway, as once again a Moanalua defender jumps and is going to be called for encroachment. Another 5-yard penalty, and that 5 yards is exactly what the Chargers needed for a 1st down.
And while we've kind of been harping on the negatives for Pearl City, obviously you have to single out Moanalua for their penalties tonight. I believe they had 25 yards of penalties in the first quarter alone, which was more than Pearl City had in offense in that quarter. So something to work on for Moanalua is that discipline, because against better teams, that might be the difference between winning and losing.
Free rusher, good job by Torres to shake out of the pressure and toss the ball down the field. Had it intended for Tavon Ching Harrell and just couldn't connect with him. Makes it 2nd down and 10 upcoming. Like we mentioned before, still plenty to figure out here tonight. Got to give out our Timmy T's Grinder of the Game award. And in case you are curious about what that looks like, what do we do for our grinders of the game, be sure to visit our social medias for behind-the-scenes content, or even just the posts of our grinders of the game, current and previous, as Torres takes the snap, drops on back, fires on over to the right side on a little bubble screen. It'll be a gain of about 5 yards. It'll make it 3rd down and manageable here for Pearl City, as we're under 5 minutes to play here in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, and that's one of the benefits of the Mercy Rule clock is, it keeps things moving. Obviously, the game out of reach, and the idea behind that is you don't let things get too out of hand. You try to keep as many players as safe as possible, while also letting a team, in this case like Pearl City, work their regular offense and still try to make a positive end to this game.
Loose ball on the ground, and Torres wasn't able to come up with it. Free defender comes on in, and we'll see who recovered it. It looks like Pearl City able to fall back on top of it, as Lennon Elder was also there for the Chargers. It'll make it 4th down and about 9 for Pearl City, but timeout going to be called by Moanalua. We'll step aside as well. You're listening to OIA Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Dial Electric Supply is Hawaii's premier lighting distributor and supplier, serving commercial and retail customers alike. Located at 2240 Kalua Opalena Street, Dial Electric's expanded retail showroom features one of the largest selections of lighting fixtures, fans, and smart home lighting solutions. Schedule an appointment with one of their design experts to create a home lighting design that you will enjoy for many years to come. Visit dialelectricsupply.com or give them a call at 808-845-7811.
Man, I loved playing high school sports growing up. And it's fun being a fan now, don't get me wrong, but sitting in the stands feels like I'm missing out on all the action, you know? I wanted to get back in the game, so I signed up to be a high school official. It takes me back to my playing days. I'm supporting students, and I get paid to make the big calls. Do you want to see the game up close? Sign up to become an official in Hawaii at highschoolofficials.com.
Great things come in threes, like the game-winning field goal, a hat trick, and Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, now with 3 locations: Kailua, the Moanalua Shopping Center, and the Kapahulu Shopping Center. Visit TimmyT's.com to skip the line and order online today.
You're listening to OIA Athletics on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760. Brought to you by Hawaii Pacific Health.
Back here at Pearl City, Torres airing it out down the middle and had a man. And it ends up being dropped. Tavon Ching Harrell had it dropped right in the breadbasket and room to run. Took his eye off the ball at the very last second. And instead, a turnover on downs for Pearl City. And just a microcosm of the night right there for the Chargers.
Yeah, some moldy bread in that basket there. That one Pearl City wanted back. Even the crowd around us, a big sigh of exasperation, knowing that that would have been that positive moment that Pearl City could have taken into next week's game. And instead, it's going to be a turnover on downs. Moanalua deep in Pearl City territory.
Yeah, unfortunate there for Pearl City on what has been an unfortunate night. After so many positives seem to come so many negatives, and it results in a 55-8 deficit here as Moanalua has put in a few of the backups. And it's been quite the night for Moanalua overall as a team. Offensively, it seemed like the running game got going as the night progressed, getting better and better and better. In Kalino, Judolena just doing a nice job pushing forward, churning those legs, working through 3, 4, sometimes 5 Pearl City defenders. And then on the defensive side, just a nice job as a fumble twice by Moanalua is going to be fallen on by the backup quarterback. And a little bit of sloppiness here towards the end of the game for Na Menehune, but something that they can afford at this point as Tyler Hufana into the game, playing some quarterback for them. Completed 9 of 10 passes so far this season for 64 yards and a touchdown. The main backup to Isaac Harney, as now Hufana will scramble on forward and pick up a few, get back to what was the original line of scrimmage. Makes it 4th down and 10. Pardon me. Looks like he gained a couple of extra yards. They'll make it 4th and 8 now for Moanalua.
Yeah, and if Na Menehune can get the first down here, it'll basically be game over. They can run out the clock. But we'll see if Pearl City's defense can make one final stand here tonight.
As you mentioned, under a minute to go. Hufana drops back, looking right, and intercepted. Intercepted by Pearl City. That's number 22, Joshua Kabaong Liborio. And there's that positive momentum just to end the night for Pearl City here with 29 seconds remaining for the Chargers. A turnover forced by the defense. The offense will be able to come back out for one final snap with 20 seconds to go here tonight. And for the Chargers, man, talk about needing something. They needed that one after what has been a really rough second half.
Yeah, it's definitely the momentum positive play they wanted for Pearl City, and now one more play to go before this ball game is pow.
Pearl City will snap it. Torres looking downfield, fires down the left sideline, and it'll be brought in by Christian Kiheva. Kiheva catches it, and that'll end the night as Moanalua goes on the road and dominates through the second half to take down Pearl City here on the Chargers' homecoming night. 55-8. We'll break down all of what we just saw coming on up. You won't want to miss it. That and the Timmy T's Grinder of the Game Award to be handed on out. Coming up on the other side of this break, you're listening to OIA Football on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Great things come in threes, like the game-winning field goal, a hat trick, and Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, now with 3 locations: Kailua, the Moanalua Shopping Center, and the Kapahulu Shopping Center. Visit TimmyTees.com to skip the line and order online today.
Here's Dr. Jamie Fukui with a health tip from Hawaii Pacific Health.
When it comes to breast cancer, early detection could save your life. That's why it's recommended all women get a mammogram every year, starting at age 40, or younger if there's a history of breast cancer in your family. Schedule your mammogram today at one of our medical centers or clinics. Women who get a mammogram in October will receive a special gift while supplies last.
Online scheduling is easy at hawaiipacifichealth.org/mammogram.
Dial Electric Supply is Hawaii's premier lighting distributor and supplier, serving commercial and retail customers alike. Located at 2240 Kalua Opalena Street, Dial Electric's expanded retail showroom features one of the largest selections of lighting fixtures, fans, and smart home lighting solutions. Schedule an appointment with one of their design experts to create a home lighting design that you will enjoy for many years to come. Visit dialelectricsupply.com or give them a call at 808-845-7811.
School sports are played by humans, coached by humans, and officiated by humans. So the next time you're sitting in the stands at a school athletic event, please remember this and maintain your humanity, especially when it comes to judging and critiquing athletes, coaches, and officials. Please show your fellow humans some respect. They'll appreciate your empathy.
This message presented by the HHSAA and the Hawaii Interscholastic Athletic Directors Association.
Sunday on Compass Media Networks, coverage of the NFL. It's a primetime cross-conference showdown from Pittsburgh as the Steelers host the Dallas Cowboys. Hi, this is Jeff Biggs. Join Kevin Ray, Steve Berline, and me for all the action as Dak Prescott and the Cowboys go for back-to-back wins on the road. It's the Cowboys and the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. If it's the NFL, it's right here
on Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Great things come in threes, like the game-winning field goal, a hat trick, and Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, now with 3 locations: Kailua, the Moanalua Shopping Center, and the Kapahulu Shopping Center. Visit TimmyTees.com to skip the line and order online today.
$55-8. Moanalua takes down Pearl City in an OIA Division I matchup here tonight. An incredible showing throughout the second half for Na'amenehune, who outscore the Chargers 28-0 following the halftime break. Paul Brecht, Kyle Galdera, the post-game show, ready to break down all the action that we just saw. And Kyle, we talked about it, towards the end of the broadcast, where while the score is ugly, for Pearl City, there are plenty of moments when you go back into the tape tonight to watch, you can be proud of, you can hang your hat on certain plays, certain times, certain stretches. It just was too far and few in between as they end up falling 55-8 here on homecoming.
Yeah, unfortunately for Pearl City, this has been the same script repeated every week. I've refereed 2 games for Pearl City, and we saw the game tonight. The first time Castle was tied with Pearl City ends up losing by 12. They were ahead of Nanakuli 22-0, then they gave up 59 unanswered to lose to the Golden Hawks. And here tonight, they were within 13 points of the top ranked in this division, Na'amenehune, and then we see the score get away from them. So basically, Pearl City's right there. They're developing the culture. They're making progress. But when you're trying to rebuild against a powerhouse like Moanalua, it's a tough task ahead.
It is a tough task ahead, and I see our Michael Lascaro down on the field just got done chatting with our Timmy T's grinder of the game, which is one of the few things we got to do before we get out of here tonight, Kyle. Who, for the beautiful people, of course, is our player of the game? Who is the Timmy T's grinder of the game tonight in a 55-8 win for Moanalua?
Well, after much discussion, and there were a few players in the realm of possibility for this award, but I think we're going to have to give it to Kalino Judalena, the running back for Moanalua. 20 carries on the night, 114 yards, 3 big touchdowns, including a scamper of 20. And our discussion happened around Judalena's impact of the game. That's what allowed Naumenehune to pull away and really cement this victory. And because of that, Judalena is our Timmy T's grinder of the game.
Kalino Judalena, as you mentioned, our Timmy T's grinder of the game. Elevate your next team event with Timmy T's. Visit TimmyT's.com to pre-order sandwich trays, cookie platters, and pickle buckets. As Judalena ends the night, as you mentioned, with 20 rushes for 114 yards and 3 touchdowns, doubling his rushing touchdown total coming into the night with just one singular game. A few other stats for you before we get out of here. Moanalua starting quarterback Isaac Harney completes the night 21 of 33 passing for 320 yards and 4 touchdowns. A real nice showing for him. And of course, Jace Barang. We can't go a Moanalua broadcast without mentioning the star wide receiver. Went 6 receptions, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, the second of which probably the easiest one he'll get for the rest of the year, wide open, as Moanalua blows out Pearl City on homecoming night for the Chargers. Just a few more things to wrap up before we get on out of here. I want to say mahalo to Pearl City for hosting us here today for tonight's game, as obviously plenty of things going on with homecoming and giving us a really nice spot here to take in the game and bring the action to all of you beautiful people. You want to check out the interview with our Timmy T's grinder of the game winner in Kalino Judalena. You can check that out on our social media, along with breaking news across the island in high school sports, college sports, our look across at the national landscape as well. All of that you can find on our social media. Hawaii Sports Radio, at High Sports Radio. That's once again at High, H-I, Sports Radio on Instagram and Twitter or X. And you can follow and keep up with all the action across the islands for us. Also want to give you a reminder that in case you enjoyed this broadcast, previous broadcasts, or are looking forward to future broadcasts to listen to once again, you can listen to all of our local play-by-play broadcasts on demand. Relive the moments of this game and others at hawaiisportsradio.com or wherever you get your podcasts. One last time, Kyle, tonight, a beautiful evening for football, a beautiful place to host a football game. And at the end of the night, just a dominant showing by Moanalua.
Yeah, Moanalua showed why they are the class of the OIA D1, and they're going to have a tough test against Lelehua next week, but they showed tonight that they have all the facets of the game in place. For them, it's just about playing discipline and eliminating penalties. And on the flip side for Pearl City, obviously yet to get a win this season, but we see them gathering on the field, still holding their heads high and really trying to develop this culture here. So props to the Chargers for doing that, and props to Naumenehune for the great run they're on so far this season.
Just got to give our mahalos and get out of here. Mahalo to Pearl City, mahalo to both programs tonight for putting on and performing for so many different fans. Mahalo to our in-studio engineer, Ku'ule Agbayani, for keeping us on the air and sounding good, and giving us a little reprieve during the halftime break, giving you guys all the updates that you were looking for as well. Mahalo to our Michael Lascaro, who does the stats, the photos, the on-field interviews, and so much more for us here for high school sports.
Even though he's a Rams fan.
He's a Rams fan, and that's okay. We'll forgive him for that. It's not a deadly sin as much as it may be one. And at the end of the day, mahalo to you, my friend Kyle Galdera, for keeping me company and keeping me on track here tonight in what was a high-scoring game between Moanalua and Pearl City.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Great job by you. And just my last thought is I'm really glad that we're able to bring our listeners some of these matchups. You know, normally you might identify, okay, we're going to have the one team versus the two team and only carry those type of matchups. We like to pick the ones where we get out in the community, showcase different players, and I think we did that tonight. The score was a bit lopsided, but always good to showcase different players from different teams, and good luck to both of these squads going forward, and hopefully those who suffered injuries tonight will bounce back better than ever here on out the rest of the season.
You said it beautifully. We at Hawaii Sports Radio Network are proud to be the exclusive radio home of OIA Sports. Be sure to visit our website, hawaiisportsradio.com, and click on the OIA Sports tab for broadcast updates, games on demand, photos, and even more. Mahalo to all of you for listening in here tonight as Moanalua stays on top of OIA Division I with a dominant road win over Pearl City, 55-8. For Kyle Galdera, Ku'ule Agbayani, Michael Lascaro, our entire hard-working team, I'm Paul Brecht. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you soon, we'll hear you soon, and we'll chat with you soon. Aloha.
You've been listening to a special presentation of OIA football, presented by Timmy T's Sandwich Shop, and brought to you by Hawaii Pacific Health and Dial Electric Supply. This broadcast was made possible thanks to play-by-play announcers Paul Brecht and Kyle Galdera, and on-site engineer and photographer Michael Lascaro. We now return you to regularly scheduled programming on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.